Hey everybody, welcome back to a new live stream. This week we are starting a new 3D render inside of Blender and compositing in Nuke. So thank you guys, buckle in, it's going to be an awesome one. I'm really excited, as you saw on the thumbnail, and if you guys are part of the Discord, you will have seen this photo from yesterday. I already posted it. The photo that we will be creating today is a photo from the Shire. It's like Hobiton, kind of like Lord of the Rings-esque, and I'm going to give a little bit of credit to where credit's due. Of course, I did create this in Midjourney, the reference photo, and then today we will be making it from scratch in Blender and compositing in Nuke. So thank you guys all for joining. Today we're going to be jumping into this real quick here. And you may have noticed that we started this stream a little early, a little earlier than normal, but it's okay because there's a lot to do today and I'm really excited. So I was like, why wait for another like 20 minutes when we can get started like right now? So yeah, this is the photo right here that we will be working on. Again, I created this reference photo inside of Midjourney just as like a reference, concept art, and then we will be creating our own version inside of Blender from scratch. So there's a lot of really cool things. I'm excited about this photo. But hey Ben, hey Veeth, welcome to the chat, welcome to the stream. We are getting started today. Let me know if my audio is off, of course, as per usual. That's always the question of the day, is whether or not my audio has anything screwy going on with it. But other than that, we are going to jump right on in here. So the photo that we're doing here is going to have several different challenges that we will be working on, but some really nice fun stuff. I love these like reflections that we've got in the water and the ripples and like all of that. So let's go ahead and jump over to our scene that we have here. I'm just going to start out with a fresh Blender scene, and we can start on working on this thing. So just delete our default cube. It's been a few weeks though, so I'm really excited to be back at this. Last week I was out of town, but I did post a tutorial. I hope all you guys were able to check that out. The tutorial is live right now on the YouTube channel. And my plan is that I want to start posting tutorials like every other week right now. I already have another one that's been in the works. So I'm trying to for sure get tutorials out, especially if I'm not going to be streaming that weekend, which may happen quite a bit this year, unfortunately, just due to life. And I've been submitting to a lot of film festivals, and if I get into festivals, especially later in the year, then I'm going to start having to take some time off. But it's okay. We will make do. Life will go on, as they say. As per usual, I'm kind of just setting up this scene here. Whoa, I don't know why we're in orthographic view. Just trying to set up the camera angle here. I like to do this manually because since we are not copying this photo from like exact detail to detail, it doesn't really matter. But you can use programs like F-Spy, and they'll give you like a really accurate like view of what you need to be able to do, and try to copy the you know, your millimeters of your camera and all that stuff. So I'm going to just kind of line everything up that way, and let's see, just try to figure out where this mountain is going to be. I like to use the landscape plugin inside of Blender in order to create my hillsides that I do, although we're gonna have to smooth everything out quite a bit, but this will at least give us a good foundation of what we're going for. This should be the front of the hillside that we're creating, so let's go ahead and move that back a little bit. And then there will be quite a bit of sculpting that we're gonna have to do on top of all of this, but just kind of getting this in the general area of what we want should work just fine. And we'll swap over to sculpt mode already and just kind of start smoothing things out. I did start a new type of live stream series last week or the week before, I can't remember, that we will be continuing this week. So this coming Wednesday, we will be continuing our live stream series on compositing rather than doing just like full CG stuff. I do love doing these scenes because they're super fun to do, and so we're going to continue this series. I didn't want to replace this series by any means whatsoever. So that's why it is a completely different stream that's like a midweek stream. And if that doesn't work with people's schedules, I can always start trying to do that more like on the weekend and then having just like 2 streams over the weekend. But I've gotten some good feedback on having like a midweek stream, and it's just a morning stream that's only like a few hours because I have to get to work. But like I think that in the long run, that'll be a nice little break in the week to have some like, little stream going on. Overall, just trying to get the shape here of the mountain down, and we can smooth things out because obviously it's going to have grass on top of it. Not too concerned about that right now. It's mostly just trying to get the shape. And this does go off camera, so we don't really have to worry about this side of it. Of course, if it was a video game or if this was actually for an animated project, we may need to clean that up, but that's fine right now. Kind of clean this edge here, and I think overall that's going to give us the overall shape that we're going for. I'm going to keep this on wireframe over here, and then we can just work on solid view here. That way we know that we're kind of giving the overall shape down. I'm just using the elastic deform tool because that overall is kind of just like allowing me to move the entire structure of the ground. And then of course this just goes into the water, so we just need this to go below this plane here. Figured actually the plane that we started out with, we could probably have that just be, wow, it's a very loud car out there. We could probably just have that be the water, and then we can just build all the ground on top of it. And we will need to have kind of like this break-in crevice area of where the door is going to be. So let's go ahead and kind of just burrow a little bit in that. I could use the inflate tool, and if you use the subtraction, it actually just digs into your selected area rather than inflating it outwards. So I'm just going to use the inflate tool and then select the minus up here for that. You could change the strength if you need it to be like much stronger on your burrowing. You can do that if you're impatient like myself. But I think overall this should work fine. And then I'm going to just go to wireframe real quick here, and then we're just going to select that, and we just kind of know where this overall section is going to be. The trick is to not make it feel like I don't know. It's got to feel more natural. Got to be careful of these like crevices that are popping out here. So I'm going to use the smooth tool to kind of like clean that up a little bit as we're going. And then we're going to add in like our own kind of like crevices and like deformations ourselves here in a little bit. But this right now, I think that's pretty simple. It's just got to be a little in the ground here. Might just use the inflate tool again and just let's turn down the strength on this. OBS disconnected. It's reconnecting. Reconnecting successful. Holy cow. I almost lost you there. How was your guys' week though? I was out of town last weekend visiting my brother, and it was a great time. Nice, relaxing. Went golfing. And now we're back at it. All right, let's see. Let's clean that up a little bit, and then I'm just going to use the elastic deform here to kind of like bring everything back a little bit. I don't want to feel too round. I kind of want it to feel more natural with how it's hitting this. And then we're going to have kind of like this window over here. So just having like that section open up, and then maybe overall kind of like this smaller section here is where like the door ends. Kind of just shaping out everything to feel a little bit more how a hobbit hole would be in real life. All right, so that's good. I'm going to, for right now, just go back to object mode here. And this will allow us to, let's just add a circle in. and then just rotate that by 90 degrees. Where is it at? There it is. Okay, we'll just scale that guy up. I'm gonna move him over here. Just gonna kind of line him up with where the door is, and then we can later make it ourselves like a wooden door out of this circle. So let's do median point origins and kind of just line everything up. Nice thing about Hobbit holes is everything is just circles. You don't have to worry about, you know, crazy architecture. It is just a circle. Just place that there into the ground. I think maybe we can have this further out, and then I just have this top piece. We'll use the elastic deform to kind of like make sure. Well, I guess the top bit here we can build out a little bit, so that's fine. Let's put that right there, and then I'm gonna fix the ground here to make sure that we're not occluding that. Just grab the sculpt tool or the grab tool and just kind of push that into the ground over here and make sure we can see our circle in its entirety. Yeah, we'll just kind of like clean that up, and then obviously once we get a lot of the structure built into this, that'll allow us to really know what the ground should look like. Because it has to feel like everything is kind of like built in with the environment. And then we'll have some more buildings back there, or not buildings, but mountains. So let's go ahead and hit that save button. Always hit that save button, everybody. Let's just add another landscape in. I don't like to mess around with the presets too much with the landscapes because I can just end up changing everything that I need. So I'm going to select my camera here, and let's change the view on this camera to be further away. Firstly, our viewport, I'll just set this to like 10,000, and then the camera, let's go ahead and set that to like 1,000. And now if we go select our mountain back here, we can take that. And we will instantly see that cursor selected, please, or cursor to world origin. It's more like it. I'm going to select my camera here, and if we just rotate this on the x-axis, I want to make sure that we're not... Yeah, that's a lot better. That's fine. And that can just scale outwards. Perfect. My perspective was just slightly off, and I kind of like this low angle perspective a little bit better. Just kind of stretch that up. Let's bring that in a little bit. That's good. It's interesting because of the lake. It's a little more like islands in the ground here rather than, you know, because it's just water everywhere else. That'll be nice. I'm gonna take kind of this mountain here. I'm just gonna duplicate it real quick and then move it here. We'll just scale it down. I just want to have like a little patch or something like on the ground here. I'll take that. Let's just... It's all right there. That's fine. And then let's go into sculpt mode real quick. We're going to smooth everything out, but also kind of just stretch everything. Just grab the smooth tool and just smooth that guy out. And then go back to object mode. If we press Control A, we're going to apply all transforms. That way when we do add our grass, it's not like freaking out on us on the size, because otherwise it doesn't know how large these things are. So we're just going to do that actually on all of these. Hit the save button, of course. Let's go give some more attention to our initial hobbit hole that we have here. I'm going to fill this in. Let's just move this up slightly. No, this isn't really lining up with our door right now, but that's fine. We are using this as inspiration, not anything else. I'm going to kind of take our door here and And instead of filling it in, let's do, is it shift space? No. Oh, I got rid of the shortcut for it. Oh, damn. That kind of sucks. It's fine. We will fill like amateurs here. I'm just going to add a little bit of thickness to this door. This will be our nice door that we have here in the center. Let's just add the cursor to the center of this selected item here, and we can just add in a cylinder. Oh, maybe not. Let's just add in a, because I do want it to be round. I think what we could do is we can just duplicate and then scale this down to our size of our doorknob that we want, or the stem going into the door anyways. And we'll just extrude this. And we'll just scale it up. It's going to create kind of like a round doorknob. There we go. Got ourselves a lovely doorknob. I'm going to actually take this and then just scale it all up because it's a pretty small doorknob. I feel like it's got to be a little bit larger. It's like one of those complicated things that you deal with inside of 3D sometimes is the scaling of stuff in order for it to not feel comical. And then sometimes things are just too small. Kind of smooth all this out. I don't want it to feel too rigidy. It's, you know, it's not that big of a surface. It's not supposed to feel like a mountain. It's supposed to feel more like a slope of our environment. All right, let's go and save that. I'm going to delete this point light that it added in there. It's actually interesting because this is not that crazy of an environment, so we're going to be able to spend a lot more time on lighting today than we normally get to. I'm just going to kind of line up where this tree is going to be. Let's do it there. We do have botanic, right? Spawn asset. Let's add in a nice tree. Nice big tree. Do we got one of those? Well, actually like this. Oh, that's quite nice. I like that. Add in another tree over here somewhere. Let's see. Something like this guy. Scale him down to, I don't know. Save that. It's interesting because there will be like land here, but we're not going to see it. So I'm not going to model land there, but we do want to have like trees to make it feel like there's land there. So let's go ahead and add in some different trees. Put that there. Probably something right here. Just keep adding in a few more trees in this area to make it feel more like a forest is behind it. And that's going to help us with the overall landscaping. Make it not feel like our world is so empty. We don't have an empty world. We have a nice, thriving, beautiful environment, guys. That we have to fake because it doesn't exist. And that's just going to be us spawning in thousands of trees to kind of make up for it. I'm gonna kind of move this back, probably somewhere around here, and let's just scale that up. Just kind of add depth to our entire environment here because we only see this all the way back there. I'm actually going to go into sculpt mode on this. We just kind of want to smooth it out. It's not supposed to be so dramatic, you know? Go wireframe here, and then we'll just use the elastic grab tool to kind of drag this top ridge down a little bit. Just kind of have like a land that's basically back here. And we'll put some trees on this as well. So the river is going to kind of like go back all the way around to that section. Just smooth this out. And we'll go back to object mode. Here we go. We're going to add some trees into that section as well. And then we'll add in grass, of course, underneath everything. But yeah, let's add in our cursor over here. We'll start spawning in some trees. I like this tree here. That's fine. Mostly just trying to randomness is hard to do, especially when you're like just doing this, but like you almost have to kind of like close your eyes before you add in some trees, because that way you're not adding in too many of the same ones. You're not duplicating what you're already doing. Try to a little more depth into this. I know they have the scatter option inside of this plugin, but it only works for grass. I wish they had it for trees as well. It's like, hey, scatter me a crap ton of trees that are different shapes, sizes, colors, whatever. Alas, I have to do this manually. Gonna add like a big tree back here as well. Oh, actually, maybe this. Like these. Just duplicate these. I'll also have to add in bushes. That's another thing I'm gonna have to add in, but we'll get to that bridge later. Overall, that's not bad, and then we'll add in grass underneath everything. I think that'll work fine. Let's see. That's good for some of our environment things here. So we've got our botanics. Before this gets too crazy, I'm going to start adding in some collections here. So we'll call this landscape, and we can put all of our landscapes in there into like one section. And then this is our water. So actually, water can go under landscape as well. And then once we start doing hobbit holes, we will be able to hide or, you know, select specific ones to make adjustments to them. Just smooth this out a little bit. I'm kind of thinking. Doesn't need to have too much crevices. Just kind of want the grass to grow a little bit more normally on this. There we go. Just gonna save that. That's great. Okay, awesome. Now I'm thinking we can add in. Let's grab this tree here. I kind of want this tree over here as well. Sometimes they're randomized trees. I just rotate them. Don't tell anyone. Let's add in this chimney here. Building, can we call it that? I don't know. Just give it a descriptive name, Connor. Let's select this building area here. We're gonna drop in a chimney, something like right there. Probably just a cube. We can add in some textures later. That's fine. Although it is kind of suspicious that there is a chimney right under a tree. Can that catch trees on fire? If there was a tree here, would that catch, like, it's just smoke, right? If anything, it would cause ventilation issues by there being a tree here. I don't think ChatGPT or I don't think Midjourney thought this through. Okay, that's good. This is why we're here, guys. We're here to fix the problems of Midjourney. Let's do that. I think that'll give it enough space. It's now not being completely covered by it, and it's still kind of in that shape that we want. And then we'll have smoke kind of coming out from the chimney here. Let's go ahead and save that. Yeah, I think that's good there. Then we could start working on some of this front of this hobbit hole section. This right here. Let's just grab that over here. We can rename this to door or something. And we'll move on from there. Let's build this kind of like front section of the hobbit hole that we're gonna have. So I'm gonna save that, and we'll go back to wireframe here just so we can see our picture as we are working. We can see how bad my modeling skills are. But overall, for the layout and blocking, this isn't too bad so far. I'm pretty happy with everything. Let's go ahead and add our cursor over here, and we'll just start out with a cube. As all good things start out with a cube, but not the default cube. You never do things with the default cube. You delete the default cube. That's the default cube's lot in life. Actually, I'm going to delete that for right now. Let's take this door, and I'm going to take this, like, one of the planes of the door, duplicate it. Oops. Alt-H. What was Alt-Z? Damn, I never even... What does that do? I'm going to just move that back here, but I'm going to press P for selection just to make it its own object. Let's scale this guy up. Well, we're not going to scale him up yet, but we're going to delete only the faces on this. That way we only have the vertices on it. And we kind of need to create the exterior of this door, so I'm going to scale it ever so slightly up. And we're just going to kind of have it come outwards. And obviously our door doesn't line up with the reference photo, but that's fine. Not too concerned about that. Anything, I'm actually just going to minimize this window because I just want to look at this door as we're modeling this. And we can get our reference down of what we're going for. So let's just go ahead and bring this back here and kind of just line this up slightly. Don't want it to be too much larger than the door, but we do want it to be larger than the door. So find that in between area, you know what I'm saying? And that's good there. Kind of have that go out a little bit. Let's just extrude, scale it up a little bit. And then extrude again. It's probably fine. And then extrude again. I'm just right clicking, by the way. Is there not like actually I'm curious. Preferences. Key. Is there not a way, maybe someone watching would know this, is there a way to showcase what keys I'm pressing on the screen? There used to be. I remember it was a very old Blender tutorial thing that people used to do. But I can't remember how to do it, or what the name of it is anyways. But if anybody watching knows that, then let me know, and then I can enable that. It might make it a little bit easier to follow along. I'll just add a subdivide surface into this thing, and let's just see what we're doing here. For some of these sharper edges here, we can alt select this, and I think we can make it a sharp edge. I think there's a way to do that. Extrude bevels, smooth vertices, slide vertices. Oh, I think that has to do with smoothing things. Otherwise, what we could do is we can actually go into our edges here, and then we'll just add in a loop cut here. That's going to go closer to our edge. This is my like an easy way of doing it, and then that's going to create kind of more of a sharp edge for us inside of this doorway. I'm going to hit shade smooth on that. And then that's going to create a nice little lip for us. So now if we select the outside edges of this doorway, I'm going to hit extrude, but I'm not going to do anything with that. I'm going to hit extrude again and then grab that on the Z-axis. We're just going to move it slightly inwards. So we just want this like extra thing. I'm going to extrude again, and then extrude again. And then this time we're going to scale outwards on the x-axis. I'm going to do a little bit on the y-axis as well. Not too much. Because primarily, we're just trying to get this to be wider to match the entire environment here. So let's just scale this out on the x-axis. And what we could do also is we can straighten this top section. So I'm going to kind of select all the vertices that are going to be our top edge of our building. So I'll even select this one, sure. And so we'll go all the way to the other side as well. Select all the way to the very sidemost. If we grab this up and move the bottom vertex here, we'll scale Z to 0 and then kind of move that down. This will give us our flatter region that we need. This here is just underground, so we don't really care too much about it. That'll be good. That way we can actually build around on the outside of this like door frame here and not have to worry too much about that. Go ahead and hit the save button. We have to create kind of like this. What do they call that? It's a door frame, I guess. The best description of it. I don't know. Let's create these side ones first. They'll be a little bit easier. Add in a cube. I hesitate to do a cube because the thing is it's rotated the wrong direction. But if we select this, we can actually see what our rotation is on our specific object. And we can actually copy the Z rotation because the Z rotation is this guy, right? So when we add in a new cube, we can actually just paste our Z rotation that we already have. So that way, whenever we do add in new objects, we can actually just automatically rotate them to the orientation in which we need them. So I'm going to do that right now, and then we can kind of scale this guy down. And let's just move him in slightly to our doorway. And we're going to create the overall shape of this. Firstly, I'm going to kind of just rough out the concept here. If we just get this to go all the way to the top, and let's just extrude this once more and then grab this face here. This face is where we want to have it go all the way out. Whoa, whoops, my bad. We want it to go about this far way out. So now we need this here to kind of like emulate that kind of cut. Let's grab everything. I'm just gonna scale it in a little bit. And if I add in an edge loop now, I can grab these edges and then kind of create this rough shape of what we're going for. So I'm just gonna do it this way. Actually, I kind of made a mistake there. I don't want the edge loop to be that low. We want it to be super high. And kind of overall just, ooh, get this to line up a little bit better. Kind of create a little bit more of like this like turn that's going down here. I imagine we could have used a bevel to do something like this also. That's potentially another way of doing it. And down here, well, we're going to take this whole thing and kind of just bring it out a little bit. I'm going to grab this face here, or this edge here, and pretty nice. Okay. And then that's going to be kind of like this store frame thing that we've got going on. And now actually I'm just going to select this edge here, and if we just bevel it, we can bevel out this part. And that looks pretty okay. I'm going to select this section here, and if we just extrude that outwards, it's just going to give us a little extra detail to our overall model. I mean, we're going to take everything anyways and kind of bevel it, but it helps to be able to have that initial stuff. It looks like our other bevel is actually screwing with us right now. I have to select these outside edges here, clean this up a little bit, otherwise it's going to look really trashy. Delete the vertices on it. A little better. A little messy still. I mean, I think we have a face missing here. This is crazy. The bevel node sometimes is a little messy. I'm gonna delete, grab this edge here. I don't know what this is. So like if we delete vertices on it, yeah, we're missing, whoa. Blender crashed. First crash of the day, guys, over the bevel node. Mark that in the books. Let's select. Hopefully we didn't lose too much. And yeah, we did. Okay, recover. Last session. Nope. Recover auto save, please, please, please. It was what, a minute ago? I just joined, and what am I seeing? Well, you just saw a crash on the Blender. That's what you just saw. Save is the button of the day, guys. Hit the save button. What we're currently working on is the hobbit hole, and I'm just making a archway over here. Although I'm having some issues with our lovely bevel node that we had. So, our bevel ability, bevel thing, created some ugly looking topology. I'm just going to go ahead and delete some of this though, and then we can clean this up ourselves. Guys, you're not supposed to do this, alright? You're not supposed to have anything that looks this bad. But it's okay. That's what some manual cleanup work is for, right? But welcome Hasselhoff. Welcome to the live stream. Thanks for dropping in. We are working on a hobbit hole from like the Lord of the Rings, the Shire, and that is our goal for today. I'm gonna delete this, and then we can just fill these edges here, and then fill that in manually, and then a hobbit hole. Exactly. Thanks, Ben. It is a hobbit hole. Hobbita. I feel like the more I try cleaning this, the more dirty it gets. Eventually, we will get to this area where it is not that dirty, right? Is that the goal here? Wow, I am massacring as I am going through this. Kind of want to just Control Z this whole section. But it's okay, we will prevail. Clean topology was never my strong suit. Okay, we're going to move this back. I think actually if I select this guy in here, we're just going to fill this edge. Oh god. Well, the real question is, from our camera angle, do we see it? No. And since we don't care. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the film industry. I'm going to actually not give a crap about it, and we will move on because I don't have time to waste on this section here. But let's select this up here real quick, and I'm gonna select this middle area as well, I think. And that is pretty jaggedy, but I'm going to save, and then I'm going to add in a subdivide surface on top of everything. And that should smooth out quite a bit of our ugliness. We do need to clean that up, like holy cow, guys. Not a fan. Okay. This is the Control Z moment, guys. Either that or we're starting over on this because this is ridiculous how overly complicated I'm making this. Yeah, we're starting over. Let's just do it over here where I can actually just do it. I'm going to take this guy, scale it in, and let's just start from scratch here. I'm going to grab this top face that we're working on. And let's see. First, I'm just going to extrude this upwards. And let's do that all the way to about there. And I'm going to, just like before, we're just going to do a lot of the same stuff we did before, but this time I'm going to do it correctly. And I think, actually, I'm wondering, can I... If I grab this edge here and then just, like, move it in... and we just move this up. I actually don't know how bad the bevel node would be on this. Let's try... That's not the worst thing in the world. It's not the angle in which I want it, but let's grab this whole thing and kind of just move it up a little bit more and then do the same thing. It's a lot better. And we'll grab this bottom bit here and okay, overall, not the worst thing I've ever seen. It's pretty close to the worst thing I've ever seen, but it is not. All right. And let's see, let's grab this thing here and bevel this edge. All right, that's fine. And then let's grab another edge loop here. Something like that should be fine. And then we will extrude that outwards. While I'm at it, let's just bevel this edge here. And bevel overall the top here. I'm going to also, because we have this entire thing, we'll just bevel everything on it. Oh, I gotta select it first, I imagine, right? Change the number of segmentations. Am I not allowed to have anything nice in life? That's my bad topology, guys. That's what's screwing me here. My bad topology is like, if we're going to catch up on you one way or another. And I'm like, no, not today, guys. Please. Shade flat. Get rid of our We can't have anything nice. It's because of my I'm using the bevels to do the hard work for me. Ah, fine. I was trying to just do it with the cubes, that way I didn't have to do all the hard work, but I didn't want to do the hard work. It's fine. Let's we'll do it manually. It's fine, I'll just do it manually. And so I'll just go to the side view here, and then we could just, we'll manually do the topology. Can I send you a screen recording? You can if you send it on the Discord. Discord link in description. It's a screen recording of how to do better topology. Connor, here is how you actually should be doing things rather than the way that you're doing them. But yeah, feel free to upload any screen recordings or anything under the showcase section on our Discord. I'm going to kind of make this more manually, just with like the planes first. Because if I do it this way, then I will not have topology issues. Because I'm doing it probably the more accurate way that you should be doing this. I'm going to take this and just... And we'll kind of have this go down here. I'm going to select everything here. Just go into wireframe mode and do this. We'll delete the vertices. And let's just grab this and move this all the way down to the bottom. And then we could just fill in this section. Let's scale this by Z to 0. Up until 1 year ago, I wasn't able to do anything with bad topology. Still have to force myself to ignore it so that I don't procrastinate. True. And like, honestly, I don't do enough I don't do enough modeling that I encounter these issues where I'm like, oh, I should get better at that. Because I don't do a lot of character modeling, which is where you see a lot of these issues the most with topology, where you need to have like proper rigging. Holy crap, I need to count better here. Let's see. Can I type in 16? No, it's not 16, guys. Can I type in... I don't know. I don't want to count. I just want to do a live stream where I have fun. Come on. Pretty close, though. Just gotta keep guessing random numbers until I'm close enough. There we go. We're so close, guys. It's close enough. Alright, it's close enough. It's close enough. Alright, and then let's do a couple up here. And then that way I can... Oh, that's perfect, actually. One would say perfect, but, you know, it's not. Amazing. Who knew I was so skilled at this, right? It only took like one try. First try, guys. First try. Okay, so now we actually have good topology. Check this out, guys. Good topology. It only took like 3 tries to do it. And now actually what we could do is, if we did go into here, we could actually add in our bevel manually. But I'm wondering actually, the thing that confuses me sometimes is this bevel node doesn't always work for me. And is it because this angle limit is I don't understand why sometimes this doesn't work and then sometimes it does. I know that like if I went into the actual edit here, I could add in my bevels, but the thing is it sometimes adds it to these bevels, right? Got like this bevel adjustment here. That's edges, vertices. I want it on edges, but I don't want it on these edges, if that makes sense. I only want it on the side edges here. See, that's shape, width, offset. Is there not like a... because I know that's like with the angle. I want the angle. I don't only want certain angles. Harden normals. Quick overlay. No. Seams. I guess I could do it on seams, right? Because then also I'm getting this bad topology up here. But if I select this edge here, I can mark this as a seam. Let's actually try that. I'm going to mark this as a seam. Or I could literally just bevel. We could do that, or I could just add a subdivide surface, which will be easier. I'm going to do that instead, because why not? I want to work with modifiers right now. I don't want to have to bake anything in, because if I don't like this, then I don't want to have to get rid of it later. Perfect. Better than nothing. First try, guys. First try. I'm going to select this object that's rotated here, and then if I just copy the Z rotation of it, I can paste that onto our new object. And go ahead and grab that and move this over here. I'm going to need to scale this up to the right size that it needs to be. Like something like that is fine. But for all you guys that don't know, you can join our Discord, and I'll be posting the finished render. It's on the YouTube video here. If you click on more on the bottom, or you scroll down on your phone, you'll see a few links that I'd like to draw your attention to. First of all is our Discord. I also post the finished photo on Instagram. But yeah, so you could join our Discord. I always post the finished photo when it's done, same day. So it's not like a post time where it's going to come up tomorrow or anything like that. So go ahead and join the Discord there. And then, of course, if there's any assets you guys want, go ahead and just use my referral link to Action VFX. They've got a lot of great CG or VFX assets that you guys can use. And I get a little bit of kickback from that. It doesn't cost you anything extra. It's just a referral link. So just wanted to point that to your guys' attention. 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 I'm going to bring this in. Oh, whoa, that's right. Need to select, because we're doubling up our vertices here. I'm going to kind of line that up there as well. And let's just make this a little bit thinner. I like that. In case I want to make any adjustments to this later, I'm just going to add in an array, and we can just use this on both sides of our doorway. And that way we don't have to make our adjustments twice, especially since these are just duplicates of each other. I'm going to also, before I use that array, let's use another array. Kind of drag that above here. And I'm just going to kind of duplicate this outwards. Just kind of like that. And then let's scale it down, or not scale it, but we're going to move it down Z-wise, because overall we want the top roof to kind of come down as we're working on this. The bottom doesn't matter as much. Now with our array, we could just, we really lost it here, but we say, ooh, maybe not array, let's use a mirror. And we will use our doorway as our mirror location. So that way everything is perfectly centered around our doorway. So I just selected our door as our mirror option. Great, so now we just have to fix our environments, that way we can actually see these things. I'm going to hit the save button, and let's go into here. So let's grab our sculpt button, And I'm just going to use the elastic grab tool. It's the easiest thing to do in order to kind of stretch things over. We don't need to see too much of this back piece here. It's just mostly gotta feel a little more open and less like we're have the environment too encroaching on everything. Okay, that should be good. I think I'm fine with that. Like kind of that slope that's going up the hill here. And now we can just build this top piece here as we're working on this. So let's go ahead and go back into object mode and just grab this whole top piece. Maybe have it go up a little bit more. Something like that should be fine. Save button. Save button, guys. Save button. Should work really nicely. Once we add the grass in, that's gonna be pretty clean. I do like this too. It reminds me of like, isn't it in Italy or Spain, or where is it at where they have, it's the city, it's the Vatican though, right? The Vatican has the city with the, but basically boats that are just everywhere. Okay, now let's create kind of like this curved piece here. I'm going to select the absolute center here, and we'll say cursor to select it, so that way it is very much centered in that. I just got your thing, Ben. I was like, I didn't know. Sometimes like when I get yes, I am thinking of Venice. I just got your Instagram thing though. Like I saw like half a message. I was like, wait, is he trying to text me through like Instagram? I was like, I gotta read that real quick. But yeah, I am thinking of Venice. Vatican City is a country. It is. I know that. I did actually know that. I know things sometimes. Other times not so much. I'm going to move this all the way over here. And if we just focus on this, I'm just going to go to top view. And let's try to create like this curve that we want, just using vertices. So we'll do Shift S, cursor to selected, and then let's grab this guy here and do selection to cursor. And then that way we have it starting on the origin. And I'm going to kind of create like this fall off section. That's going to kind of like go over. Maybe have it a little more deep here in the center before it kind of like falls off. It's plateaus out again. Okay, that's pretty good. I like that. Let's just take everything now and we'll just extrude it on the y-axis straight up. So now it's a thicker piece. And with that, let's take everything here. We'll just extrude it all the way inward. And now all I have to do is say mirror, mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest one of all? And then let's rotate this on the x-axis here 90 degrees. And I'm going to need to rotate it the orientation of this as well. So I'm just going to select the orientation of the Z rotation. And we'll need to figure out, I know it's not the Z rotation. Oh, it is. Fantastic. That made everything easy. Booyah. That's all you got to do. I thought it was going to maybe be like the y-axis or something. So now if I select that, move that over, what does that look like right off the bat? It is weird. This one is higher or... Oh, no, no, no. Shift S, cursor to selected. And then we'll do this. We'll do selection to cursor, so that way everything is very much lined up. And then let's move this outwards here. And move it up. Something like that should be fine. But this was mirrored around the door, is it not? Because that's not like perfect. It's so strange because it should be just literally perfect. Unless I'm doing something wackadoodle here. Could also say mirror around the door to see like what it does. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So the orientation was a little off. It's fine though. Great. I like that actually a lot better. And so now with our second array here option, let's move the first one in a little bit more on the door and then move it up as well. And that's actually fine. I think, yeah, I think I'm okay with that. And we're gonna have this piece kind of stick out. So I'm gonna add another edge loop here, and then if we grab these front faces, is that not possible? Am I not allowed to have fun here? We'll just select them manually, guys. So we'll grab these front faces. We're going to kind of just extrude that outwards. Actually works really nicely. Let's just grab these top center section and then just move that up a little bit. And these side pieces here, just move that down. I gotta kind of line this all up over here as well. It's a lot better. Had me concerned there for a second, guys, but no, we prevailed. I'm going to grab the bottom of this and we're just going to move it down so that way it's into the ground. Awesome. And go ahead and save that. I know that like this is close enough where there's like no footsteps or anything like that up to the door, but we might want to have something like that since we do have a little bit more space. I think it would be kind of nice. Maybe even a little rocking chair or something nice like that. I'm not sure about windows here. Like, we really don't have that much space. Here's what we can do, though. Let's... stretch that all the way out. To a negative 0.09. Negative 0.08. Okay, that's fine. I'm a lot more happy with the way that's intersecting with it. I do want the mountain out here to hug a little bit more on the top piece. So we can for sure fix that. Let's go ahead and select the mountain. The save button here. I need to fix this over here anyway. So we'll go to sculpt mode, and then I'm just going to kind of like use the elastic grab tool. And just kind of... we don't want it on the inside of this like built out section. We really don't. And that's fine there. Actually, I do need to fix this real quick so I can see really what is intersecting and what isn't. Okay. I think we're good. I just need this sculpt over here to be kind of cleaned up just a little bit. Perfect. It's fine if the bottom is kind of coming up, but you don't want the top to. And let's see. Let's get this same thing over here kind of fixed. I'll need to fix this edge. So go back to object mode, select this guy, and do the same thing. And honestly, we're already good. We just need the back here to be kind of fixed. So I'm going to go ahead and... I don't know, do we want this to feel thicker, or do we want the mountain to kind of like come over top a little bit more? I think we do want it... I did think we want the mountain to come over top. We don't want it to feel like it's too man-made, you know? I'm just going to grab this whole kind of section, and then we're just going to pull it forward. Great. Now we got to fix all the problems that we just created. Okay, that's a lot better. Wasn't that many problems. I over-complained. More problems. More problems. Okay, that works actually. And I'm fine with this kind of coming up here. And now we can definitely have space for windows on the side. So let's go ahead and do that. Amazing. This definitely feels very naturally built into it, which I love. I love that. Going to let's go to camera view on now. I've had this minimized forever now, but like this will be our camera view. And let's select our camera that we have. I can turn off background image, and let's see. Kind of want for viewport display to make sure the pass through is set to 1, so that way we are not getting any view whatsoever. It's just going to be our lovely render that we will be working on. Wow. And here I was saying, everybody, that this was going to be a fast, easy render today. Nope. Nope. Go over here and swap this to sculpt mode. Oh, we need to select the mountain first. Just kind of fix some of the edges here. Kind of clean that up. But yeah, I think that works nicely. Need to do the same for over here. We don't want any mountain coming through the top of our house. Okay, lovely. Really like that. It's definitely in the right direction. Reminder to everybody, if you guys want to see how to make some visual effects shots, I did upload a tutorial last week. So there is a new video on the channel. So check out the tutorials. If you do like the tutorials, let me know. And if you have any questions on or desires to see different types of tutorials, make sure to leave comments as well. Because I'm going to start rolling those out a little bit more often here. So if you guys do have any tutorials you'd like to see, then that would be really helpful, is to have a starting place of what you guys are looking for, and I can start working on that. So I'm mostly looking into the world of kind of like visual effects, like compositing wise, and may do also some CG stuff. But the thing is we do these kind of live streams so often that, you know, it's hard to find something that I'm not already showcasing here. But maybe that's the point. I need to make like a 3, 4, 5 minute video tutorial on some different CG stuff. So I don't know. Let me know if that is something you guys want to see or not. That would be great to kind of have some insight on that. Okay, I think as far as this house goes, we may be able to start working on the window. So let's go ahead and do that. Thinking, kind of want a window somewhere around here. So let's grab a circle, I'm thinking. Rotate that 90 degrees. And if we grab our orientation again, we're just going to copy the z-axis of this. Select our circle. Oops. I don't know what I just pasted, but I Control-Z that really quickly. And let's go ahead and just like start working on some of the shape of this. I think for the most part, we're just going to make the outside frame of it first. So we'll just extrude, scale that outwards. And if we move that out slightly, that will work. Let's scale everything down. Just move that over, kind of center it visually for us. I want this lattice type effect. Not sure if there is an automated way of doing this, but I'm about to do it the overly complicated way, so prepare yourselves. Let's firstly, we're gonna just solidify this. Just add a solidify button. Just gonna kind of add a little bit of thickness to our window frame that we're gonna have. And then on top of all that, let's add in a new cube. And if we go to our Z rotation, paste that. And this was the overly complicated way that I was about to talk about. What we can do is we can actually go to our, just go down here and add in an array and set that to 0. And we can just add an array of it slightly up. And then we can, boop, 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 boop. Perfect, guys. Kind of center that as much as possible. Just make sure it lives within inside that window, and you'll never be the wiser. Oh, I'm thinking actually let's delete that real quick. If we take this and then apply that array, kind of select everything and say cursor to selected, and it puts it in the center of the entire area. And then if we duplicate this, Shift-D is the trick, we can rotate this on our 3D cursor 90 degrees. And I'm going to make this slightly more on the inside. I think that's the trick, guys. So then we hit Control-J, and then we select our overall window, and we hit Control-J, and so now it's all part of the same window. And now we hit this guy, and we're still selected on that. Just rotate it on our Z-axis slightly. Rotate it on the Z-axis 45 degrees, and that's going to put it sideways. So now we got a sideways window, just like the lattice window that we have here. We probably didn't need as many black bars, so let's back up our stages a little bit. Because I realize how thick this whole thing is going to be if we continue to do it this way. Let's make it half. So we'll do 4 and -6. Does that work? But let's do -4 and I think that works. Just apply that. could actually do this all in one. That way we don't have to worry about it. Perfect. So we'll just take that and probably actually, one second, we have to apply that first. There we go. And then now we join everything together and we can use a mirror and we're just going to mirror around the door since everything is mirrored around the door. So that way we'll have a window on the other side of our entrance here. Go ahead and save that. Hit that save button. Great, guys. Awesome. We are well on our way to success. We are well on our way to success. I'm going to select this face here specifically and then just duplicate it. Make sure this is set back to the median point. We'll scale this down on the x-axis. I'm going to kind of put this up actually, somewhere around there. We'll just extrude that. And honestly, let's grab it and put it somewhere around there. It's all good. Try to create as much of a front view as possible on this thing. And we'll just duplicate again. And just do this a few more times just to add in these kind of segmented lines. And it's okay if they're not perfect because guess what? It just adds it to be a little more realistic. It's not perfect. As long as they go all the way into the back there, we're fine. It's actually much better that they're not perfect because if they're not perfect, it just makes it look more realistic. Love that. Save. Honestly, that works. Okay, let's see what's some other details we can add in here. Oh, I love this. Let's do that. You basically just take one of these, duplicate him, say P selection, and then if we select that guy and we remove the mirror factor on it, just grab him and put him in the center. What else is he gonna do? Something like that should be fine. That's the center. Let's select this back piece here and kind of just stretch that all the way in. There we go. It is interesting though, because like this is one of those things where it's like the more imperfect it is, actually he is better because it makes it look more realistic. All these things were hand built, and that's anyways what I keep telling myself to make myself feel better about my bad modeling skills. It's just more realistic this way. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's more realistic this way. Alright, well, we don't really see this top piece here. I do think, though, that it might be nice to select kind of like these faces at the very top here. Just extrude that a little bit just to give it a little more detail. That way it's not too perfect. Go ahead and save that. Do kind of like want some footstep stone things here. So let's take a look at that real quick. Do we have anything from Botanic on this? It'd be under garden. I would imagine. Whoops. Can I not select? There we go. They got cages. Why do they got cages in the garden section? What kind of garden do the people that make Botanic have? Rocks. It is technically a rock that I'm looking for. Pots, plants, saplings, shrubs, succulents, tropical, vine, weed. Weed. Alrighty then, I guess that's no go. I mean, I could select a rock or something like that and just flatten it. Let's do that. It's fine. Probably something like that's good. You know, just like it is just like gonna be like a couple footsteps down from like the main entrance. I'm gonna have grass growing around this too, so I might need to adjust these later, but it's a good starting place. Okay. That works. Okay. Great. And then we can start adding in some grass and stuff around that to like really help sell it. Because that's like pretty much the only modeling thing I feel like we have left on this. Before we get into some shading. Some shading. Some beautiful shading, guys. That's what we're trying to go for. Some beautiful shading. Not some bad shading. We don't want the bad shading. Let's see. We're going with a riverbank. Select that. We'll add that into our overall front section here. This will be the easiest little area to do. Probably change the scale of it a little bit. And lessen the amount of it as well. So let's change the number here. That's good. And then let's do, they got scale randomness. Let's change that up a little bit there. Overall, our number could probably be doubled. And then what do we have? The random phase. Randomize. 100% randomizing this crap, guys. And so that's our small section. Now we'll go select these guys over here. Hit that save button, guys. Hit that save button. I'm going to first go to weight paint. This is kind of important. Let's go to weight paint, and then if we go to the data section inside of our properties menu, we're gonna first add in a new vertex group here. And you don't need to name it, but I'm just going to name this for our weeds and stuff like that. We call it weed. All right. So that's going to help us later with our scatter node to not put stuff here because the camera's not going to see it. Of course, if you guys are working on like a video game or if you're working on an animated film where you're going to see a bunch of different angles, then that's going to be really important. I would say that you will need that. But for us, for our purposes, we only want it in specific areas. And even if you are doing it for a video game, you might want to have weeds in some area, clean grass in other areas, and you're still going to need to do this. So I'm just calling this weeds because this is going to be overall the entire thing. That's the only thing we're really adding into this. We, for instance, don't want any weeds to grow behind our house here. So that's kind of important to note as well. And let's go ahead and jump in and do that. So let's see, we're just gonna select this, and really you can do this from the camera angle, so that way you're not selecting anything that you're not going to be seeing. It's fine that we select all of this. It's fine that we select that. Just select this whole top piece here and then that piece there. Now what you'll find interesting is we don't see that whole section. So we selected everything that we can see, but we're not selecting stuff that we're not going to be able to see. I'm just going to select a little bit of it so that way it doesn't look like we're going off to nothing. Also going to select around that, make sure that's selected. Just kind of cleaning it up overall. That should be good. I'm also not opposed to us selecting this to have a little bit of weeds come out from underneath the water. Feeling a little more riverbanky. But yeah, so we'll go ahead and have that kind of selected there. And if we go back to our object mode and we have it, we'll add in our weeds. Okay. Firstly, it's going to add in it everywhere using the scatter node, but we can scroll down and we can say, hey, for the density, only do it on our weeds. Now it's only going to put it where the weeds are located. The important thing is our scaling is a little off. Let's just use the same scaling that we had here because I think this looks pretty good. So if we select it to like 2.1, it should be fine. We're probably going to change the number as well. So let's first decrease this to like 1,000 just so we can see what we're doing as we're doing it. And then change this to like a 2.1. That about looks correct. And then we're going to want to increase our number here to something like 20,000. Now, it looks very uniform. It's all just like straight up and down, which is not good. And that's where we're going to want to have a lot of play in there. So I'm first going to down this to about 10,000 because we're going to add in different types of weeds. That way it's not too repetitive. And maybe even less than that. We'll do 8,000. And then from here, we can randomize the orientation, which the Shire has like this very wind blowy kind of effect that's going to happen to it. So we want to make sure that we are emulating that inside of our grass that we have here. Also, we can adjust the scale randomness. I'll want that to be a little bit larger for the scale randomness, so that way it's not too repetitive. And that looks pretty nice already. Now we can layer in another scatter effect. So instead of just selecting this riverbank B, maybe we want to have like I don't know, riverbank A. I don't know what riverbank A is, but let's go ahead and select it and add it in there. We want to make sure it's doing the same thing. Select it on the density of weeds. And we want to try to change the scaling of it as well. So let's, oops, Alt A. Change the scaling to something like a 2.1. I'm also trying to play the animation back right now, which I don't know why I am. Let's change the number of this to like 10,000. And then, of course, we can also disable the viewport of the other thing just to make sure we're seeing what we're going to want. But we're going to randomize the orientation of this just as much as the other one. And then we're also going to want our scale randomness to maybe be even larger on this. We can scale this up even more. And we are seeing that it is digging into the house here, and that's not good. Because we do not want it to be on the inside of this house. So for our weight paint, we can make sure that we are using a subtraction method. And then we just delete anything that is coming through there to make sure it's not coming through on that house. So let's go back to object mode here. And yep, that's a lot better. Just making sure that we don't have anything weird digging through the house on the top as well. So we'll need to fix that. So again, go to weight paint, your subtraction, and you're just kind of deleting anytime you see some of these coming through. That's better, that's better. Overall, that's looking really good now. If you do want it to feel very heavy on the top here, but you don't want it to come through on the house, we can do that manually. So I'm not too concerned about it right now with like what our options are here, but we will fix that here momentarily. I'm going to probably just make this so it's a little bit more visible. Sitting on top of this grass, it can feel buried in it, but you know, you do want to have it there just so that way it's like that little extra detail that we're adding into our scene. Now if we select this guy, let's go ahead and view our first riverbank option as well to make sure that we're not getting any weird clippings that are happening on the house. Does not appear to be so, but we do have this ugly kind of like section here that we want to fix. And so we can go ahead and do that. There are a few things that we can do to try to solve this. We can use another scatter node, but make sure that it's only scattering on like this particular section. So we can select this and maybe add in a new data group. And this new data group can be like a top or something. Let's firstly, we'll hide our other grass that we have going on right now because this is not going to affect that whatsoever. But if we go ahead and change the weight paint, and then now we have this top selected inside of our vertex groups, we can select only this section, and I'm not going to need subtract. I'm going to want to have add. But we can go ahead in and select just this section up here. I'm going to make sure that instead of add, let's just use draw. Yeah, let's do that. And we're just going to select this whole section up here. It's important that we don't have too much of that down there selected. So again, we can go in and select subtract. And then if I'm looking at this through vertex group or X-ray vision viewing. I'm just going to kind of deselect any of that. Try to keep it as much as possible above. And this is all based off of the amount of vertices you have on your object. So if you don't have enough vertices, feel free to add in like a subdivide modifier or something like that. And that'll allow you to have more detailed control, which we may need to do. But let's see if we can get away with not doing that, because that's just going to make our scene very heavy. So now that's our top. Let's go ahead and add in a new one. We'll just select our regular weeds that we have here. Click OK. And then this time we will select the density of our top. And then one other thing that we can do is we can actually select the length of top. And that will use basically the heat map that we're using on the weight to determine what the size is of it as well. I don't know that we necessarily need that for our particular case because we're already randomizing everything ourselves, but that is an option if you need that. I'm going to make this much smaller, something like 3000 should be fine, maybe even 2000. Let's set the scaling to like a 2.3, and then there's the moment of truth. Let's change the randomize option here to something crazy. And it is coming a little bit on the top. It's coming through a little bit on the top, but we can fix that. So let's go back over here into weight paint, and then we're going to kind of just subtract it from this top section. And that's actually pretty close. It's not quite perfect, but we can fix that through our randomize orientation thing a little bit. And that will work just great for us. Fantastic. Probably go through and nitpick it a little bit more, but I'm kind of fine with it sticking through a little bit, because it also adds just a little bit more realism to the whole scene. So now if we start to add in the rest of our grass, it'll feel really nice. And if there's any other sections that we wanted to get like that perfect amount to, then we can go ahead and do that now. Let's also actually here real quick, let's go ahead and select this guy and then go to weight paint. I want to add, we'll use the add here just a little bit to the side. Just a little more fine control over that. And then that way, because it just felt a little barren before. All right, that's good. So that's kind of like what we're filling in right there, and I think that looks really nice. Okay, go ahead and save that. Let's see. We can add in some grass to this other mountain back here. Let's go ahead and do that real quick as well. Probably just add in a regular grass amount. Oh, actually, before we do this, let's go ahead and actually just remove that. Let's go to camera view. We're going to do the same thing with the weight paint real quick. I'm probably going to disable all of that, so that way when we're working on this, we're not going to crash our computer or anything like that. Swap over to weight paint and then select everything that we see. Again, this is important because we're only going to see stuff from the camera, and we're not going to see some of the areas that are not visible to the camera. So this makes it a little bit easier for us. So let's go ahead and go back into object mode. We'll save that, and we'll spawn some, we'll add in a scatter function. We'll use the weed option. And with our group, we'll set that to our density. Thinking the number is way too high. Probably increase the randomize as well. This always allows you to make it feel like there's just more than there actually is. And that's really nice, I think. And it's so far away, we don't need to have too many different types of scatter groups in there. Go ahead and save that. And now if we go add in all of our regular grass as well, that's going to, I think, look really nice there. It's pretty good. We are definitely on our way to success here, guys. We could probably get into some shading here and get started with that. So I'm going to focus on where these windows are located. Firstly, let's disable all of this. There's no reason to crash our computer right now off of stuff that we're not really even looking at. And it is enabled on render, so if I ever do hit the render button, it's just ready to go. I'm just disabling the display option on it. Okay, so we have these windows, these lovely windows that we have here. But we're going to need light coming from the inside of them. Do this several different ways. I'm going to probably need, let's select, yeah, that's fine. Just kind of needed to delete the actual vertices here. We already have like this wall, so we're not seeing that anymore. Probably just clean that up a little bit. And that's all good. I'm fine with that. But I'm just deleting the vertices on the inside, so that way if we were to look at it from here on the inside of the mountain, we can actually see through it. The door is not going to have any light come through it, but the windows will. So that's kind of important for us to be able to have that. The other thing that we'll need to do is inside of the edit mode here, if we just kind of select the area in which the circle for this window is going to be, we can use the knife tool and just cut through it. So let's just go ahead and do that. I'm going to kind of just, starting from that edge that already exists there, we're just going to go all the way around this window pretty roughly. We can use the edge that's already there as well. We'll use that edge. We just press enter. We can now actually just, oops. We can actually just use our selection tool and select only this and say delete only the face. So now if we're viewing through it, we can actually see all the way through that window. Minus... Oh, that's right. I have a subdivide surface on here. I was like, why is it... it's funny. Before we do that then, let's go ahead and apply our subdivide surface. And now we can select our faces that we just created. Probably should have done that before. Deselect everything that's kind of going on the outside here. And we'll delete only the faces. Actually, okay, one second. We'll delete only faces and edges. That way we're not having any issues. Lovely. Okay, let's Control Z back. I needed to do that before I did the subdivide surface thing. Okay, fantastic. Before the knife tool option, go ahead and apply our lovely little subdivide surface that I had forgotten about. And then now, if we go into our edit mode, we are going to do the same thing we did with the knife tool, but we're not going to have any issues this time. So go ahead and select our knife tool, wherever that is. There it is. And let's go ahead and start from here, I'm thinking. Do it from something that we can really see. Oh, oops. Accidentally disabled all my collections. There it is. And we'll use the knife tool here and just start at the top. And then kind of just go all the way around. I'm not supposed to... No, I don't actually know if I need to be selecting anything on my way. I think we're good, right? Okay. I don't actually know if... Yeah, okay, that's fine. We'll just delete edges now. There we go. Two-step process. God damn. There is a vertex here that is a problem. Where is it coming from? What is that? Whatever. The window's not perfect. At the end of the day, that's just what it is. But yeah, that's gonna work nicely for us. We can add glass on the inside of that here momentarily. But let's go ahead and do the same thing to this side here. Everything is already applied, so all we have to do is use our knife tool and just kind of select all of this outside shenanigans. And delete only the faces. Kind of do the same thing here and delete only the edges. Pretty straightforward. Go ahead and hit the save button. I'm going to add in a new plane, rotated on the x-axis 90 degrees. Let's go ahead and copy the orientation of this as well. So copy the Z rotation and then paste that onto this plane. And ideally, we just want that to be where this window is at. So let's go ahead and do that. Just drop that in. And honestly, that's pretty close. Let's see. Perfect. And there's our window. With our window, let's go ahead and actually select that. We'll just name it window. And we can change the modifier to be like a mirror or something like that. And we'll just mirror it around the door. Just make it easier. Because our window already is mirrored around the doors, so whatever we do to this side will be mirrored to the other side. And let's go ahead and put that under the building as well. So now, theoretically, our whole building just disappears whenever we have that selected. Great, guys. The only actual thing that we probably could have done better than that, if I'm looking at this now, is that if under our building we had a boolean that was actually the thing that was cutting it into this area. Because if we were using a boolean, then it would be completely procedural and we can actually move that to wherever we wanted. But for our purposes right now, I don't know that that's extremely necessary. Let's go ahead and add that back in. I was like, something's missing here. Add in the rocks. Okay. Fantastic. Off to the races, everybody. Now we get to do some shading and some lighting and some fantasticness on it. Let's go ahead and just look at our reference here. We have the kind of the sun back here. It's a sunset. Or a sunrise. One of the two, you know? I prefer to think... Actually, no, this is a sunrise. It is what we make it, guys. It is what we make it. I'm going to make... let's go ahead and we're going to use this plugin called Physical Light. Do I actually have it installed? Atmosphere. Yes. It's like the best plugin ever. Why would I not have it installed? And let's go ahead and check this out. So what we'll want is to change the horizon of it to be a little bit closer to pointing to the camera. And then let's change the orientation as it's going to be rising a little bit in the morning. And let's see what that looks like. Just go to render view here real quick. Make sure to hit the save button. Okay. Firstly, feels more like noon. Why does it feel so hot? Okay. I actually don't know if there's a difference to... There has to be, right? Something like that. You know, I've always been kind of curious, at least this with the view transform, the sequencer. Doesn't really change anything. I just know that this blows things out currently. I'm going to try something real quick. Let's go ahead and just close this Blender file here. I actually want to mess around a little bit with the... Let's find the Blender version that I'm currently on. And I just want to look at some of the preset data files here. I thought it was under that. Was it not? Data files. It's not presets. Project files. Hello? Can I not control A? What the hell is going on here? Why is... Okay. Yeah, well, Control A works there. Thank you. Blender 4.0. And then 4.0, data files, color management. So I'm currently using TCam. Wondering, let's just copy this. I kind of want to use the Ajax files. Skip these files. Let's do that. We're going to use Filmic, the new 4.0 Filmic Ajax. Because I had replaced the config file before, but one thing that bothers me with doing it in my own config file is that the skies are always blown out like crazy. Let's see if this fixes it here. So it still has Filmite Linear here selected. Oh no, Linear Filmite E-Gamut. What the hell? Is that just remembering it? It shouldn't be a thing. So if I select... I think I just select Ajax, right? ASYS-CG Ajax Base Display, sRGB. Let's try it this way. Open up Blender from scratch. And then go to the color management settings for cycles. It has sRGB for the display options, AGX for the viewing transforms, and the sequencer is set to sRGB. It does have linear Filmlight E-Gamut. I don't actually know why this is an option. I know you guys can't see my screen for that, but that's weird that that has that as an option. It shouldn't. So sRGB, Ajax, sRGB. Let's try that real quick. Kind of curious. sRGB, Ajax, sRGB. And maybe it is that the skies are always just blown out on the... Yeah, no, this is a lot better. You see that? Sky is more accurate in the display here. I'm going to have to look into that. The sequencer here is set to sRGB, which is interesting because... So I know the internal Blender is... I think was mentioned to me before that it is being done inside of like a Blender linear format. While I'm testing this out, I actually do just want to figure out a solution here. Let's go ahead real quick. Yeah, I know. Don't look out how packed out my C drive is, guys. Let's go to Blender Foundation, 4.0. 4.0 again. Let's do data files, color management, and... under old, I already have it here, so that's fine. Let's select the options and then hit delete. And then under TCAM here, whoops, old, TCAM, select, oops, these two, copy, paste, continue. And I just have to, oops, I don't want to open it, I just want to rename it. To config. Thank you. And then if we close that, so it'll be display should be sRGB. Viewing transform says Ajax. We're used to convert the image to display space. Ajax is a display space. And then the sequencer is set to sRGB. Okay. So I'm not going to save that. But I'm just trying to get my Filmlight Linear to view more properly because I'd like to be able to tag it correctly inside of my nuke comp, and I work in Filmlight Linear. So this is setting this to, the display is being set to a TCAM 100 nits. That's fine. The viewing transform is the thing that's setting it to sRGB display rather than Ajax. And then the sequencer is being set to Filmlight Linear, and that should be like the output rendering that it's doing it as. My concern is that when I'm viewing it inside of Blender, that it is actually not viewing it correctly as far as color management is concerned. I think for right now, guys, we'll just use the... because I want to be able to see the skies that I'm working on, especially on this particular render. So let's go ahead and delete that, and then we will select our initial config file that we have here, and then just paste that. Now if I open up Blender again, it will render or work inside of the Ajax color management workspace. Actually, interestingly enough, potentially... it has everything selected here. I go to render real quick, the viewing transform, if we set that to Ajax, that changes the sky there. So that fixes our problem there. So if we're viewing it in Ajax, and then if we render this out as linear film light E-gamut, please tell me this works. Let's go over here. We'll set the file format. Oh, man. I also realize you guys can't see anything I'm doing here. No, F3 is not the answer. I'll just drag this out here. I'm going to set this instead of from PNG to something like OpenEXR multilayer. So that way it actually renders it out inside of a linear color space. And let's just, I'm going to try rendering this. And if we get the same looking image here inside of our nuke, then we're going to call that a win. So I don't know why Filmlight Linear is popping up under the config file settings. I don't know if that's something that I did. I don't think it is. I don't know how it knows what Filmlight Linear is, because that is a baseline color management configuration. What I'd also like to know is, does it have aces? So like right now, if I go here to the bottom color management settings, it set this as Filmlight Linear. Right here, linear Filmlight E-gamut. It does have aces CG. So that would be a workflow that I feel like would work for everybody else. Let's just get this to render real quick. Wow, it's going to take 40 minutes. No, it's not. Come on. I'll just stop the render right now. Image, save as, and then it's already rendering it out with that whole thing. Let's just render this to our output. We're just going to keep it as untitled. I don't care. Inside of my nuke comp now, I'm actually going to load this. Just curious. This is very interesting to me. And let's shuffle this correctly here. Now, okay, it is crushing it. It is crushing it compared to this. You can see the differences. It's unfortunate. I was really kind of hoping that that would fix our problem. Oh, man. It's the skies and the highlights that are a little different. Let's try one more thing. I'm curious. So this is setting it to linear. I don't know. So let's try aces CG. Just render that out. So ideally, I'll explain why this matters. When working in kind of like multiple softwares, if I'm doing something in here and then I like go, oh, I really like the way this is flaring inside of the CG software, it's important that I get that to look correct on my screen here, so that way when I go to a different software, it looks the same. Because otherwise the issues that you're going to run into are inaccuracies in color. And that is especially important, not for this, it's a CG scene, so it's not as important, which is why I always just kind of blow it off. At least for the, I blow it off for these live streams because it doesn't really matter that much. As long as the final product of my image looks good, I'm pretty happy. But what I do care about is in the next few weeks, we're going to be doing more and more VFX streams where I have to do some CG that's being correlated inside of a project, or inside of like a shot or something like that. And if that's the case, then it has to look accurate. The color has to be accurate across the board. So that's why it's really important to make sure that your color looks correct inside of your softwares, between softwares. I'm gonna go ahead and select Untitled 1 here, and we could just copy paste. That way we could see our versions. And then if I tag this as aces CG, that's actually closer. It is interesting though, because it's redder. Look at the reds. Reds pop way more. I'm gonna actually also make sure that under my project settings here, I'm not using my custom OCIO. Let's use ACES 1.3. It's that way when I tag it here as an ACES CG, should be the same. Whoa, that's even more off. I don't understand Blender's color management, guys. This is not correct. This is not correct at all. That's concerning. This is the closest, so let's we'll work in this workflow. The reds are a little different, but right now this will at least get us close enough where it's not going to drive me crazy. But you can even see the color differences there between the two. If I pop between the two of these, it's kind of bad. All right, that's that, guys. That's how you do the ACES workflow on it. I do have flip fluids. I want to grab one of their materials rather than me having to do this from scratch. So let's go ahead and save that. I'm also not sure, just looking off this render here. I'm fine with that. That's fine too. Let's work on some lighting and shading here. So that way we're getting a little close. It's funny because this is much greener. You notice that? Like, it actually looks more green than the well, that's about the same. This is more red than this is. That's pretty accurate. And then the biggest difference here is the two of these. Between these two images. This has more red in it, which is the nuke render or the nuke viewing format of it. And then this right here is just more green. I prefer this anyways, so I'm happy with that. But that is interesting. For right now, we'll close nuke, and then we'll get back to that momentarily. But right now, let's go ahead and just make some adjustments here. I have let's see what the different materials are. We're gonna want to add in, let's just add in a cube real quick. This will just be the easiest way to do this. If we add in a cube and then select our flip fluids, it actually can import textures and stuff like that. So let's see, there are presets, render animation, selected objects, add or remove objects, create a fluid, and I need to import material somehow. I feel like there's a preset somewhere, right? Organizer, command line tools, geometry nodes, beginner tips, display add-on. I don't care. Create domain. Then if I select the cube on the inside of it, can I not change the presets of it to the type of fluid that I want it to be? It's been so long since I messed with flip fluids, but the cool thing about it is that it auto imports materials. That way I don't have to like try to create my own liquid. There might be a way for me to do it here too. If I turn on and then search for this, I could search for like water. Got a water material? They do. That's fine. Since they changed all the settings inside of Blender's 4.0, I don't know how to do water anymore, and it's sad. It's really frustrating, actually. It's like you know how to do stuff, but then they changed everything on you, so... Ooh, we're gonna scale this down to create our like pizza shape that we want. Okay, that's good. And then we'll go ahead and save that. For our material here, let's go ahead and just search for like water again. Find something that's gonna work for us. I actually don't know how well any of these are gonna work. Dirt, muddy water. I don't think so. I think we just want water. Water realistic, please. And the water realistic worked, guys. I don't like how much it's blurry. Like, it's pretty damn blurry. But we can edit all of these things, so I'm not concerned about that. So let's open up our shader editor, and then we can adjust the material on the inside of this. Also not a huge fan of the sky yet, so let's actually fix the lighting so that way we know what we're doing here. I go to my physical light settings here, the atmosphere. I'm going to want to change the vertical aspect of it a little bit. Not too much. Try to find that sunspot. There it is. It's right there. And we might want it a little bit lower, something like right there if we can. So let's get the horizontal down. Something like right there, and then the vertical aspect of it down. Oh, not up. We want it down. Okay. And then let's see the density. It's pretty nice. I like that. Still, everything is a little too silhouette-y, so I don't want that. Get like kind of like the overall intensity of the entire world a little bit higher. And then let's see our clouds. Kind of change the scaling of them a little bit to just get our feeling. It is very green. I'm not a fan of this. Let's change the temperature. Want to feel more morning? Just doesn't feel like morning right now. It feels like it's midday. And it might have something to do with the density. I don't know. Why is it so damn green? Can't we be happy colors, please? The thickness on these guys. Might have to put in some real clouds on this rather than like using this thing. Oof, a little bit too much there. Temperature minimum 4,000 Kelvin. What does that do the lower it goes? Oh, the stars. We don't need stars. Night intensity. What is... I want it to be morning, guys. Do they have a preset? Actually, I'm curious. Do they have a preset? Manual, auto. Oh, for that, gotcha. Add-on settings. I thought there was a way to do presets in this thing. Thought for sure there was a way. Maybe that was like an old version of the software. But there used to be like a way to do like presets. I'm gonna do vertical. Let's just make it a little bit lower. Everything is so freaking green. And I like know it's not gonna look like that on the final render. This is driving me crazy. Just so frustrating. Probably, let's see, the absorption here. Let's just give it a touch of... It might be a little... Ugh. And the color, let's just put it closer to neutral. And then the in scatter, can we put that closer to neutral? I just screwed up my settings here. Okay, so, I mean, let's see. Let's just adjust this slightly. I mean, that's better. The sky is still completely fricked up. Just trying to get it to, like, not look so... Like, I don't like this sky at all. Let's change the density here to, like, a 2, I think. Yeah, that's fine. Temperature here... Everything is just so pinky now. Like fighting with like this. It's crazy. Let's go to like HDRI Haven. Let's just try to find an HDRI that works. Can we do that? Sunrise, please. Something with like beautiful clouds. I've used this multiple times and I think I'm going to use it again today, guys. Use the 16K download of it. Link is in the description for this. So if you guys want to go to HDRI Haven, you can either Google it like what I just did, or link is in the description right down below. I'm just going to download this straight to here and let's see how that goes. While that's downloading, what you can find in the description is some resources that are helpful. First of which is the textures that I like to use sometimes. Textures. Haven, which is on Polyhaven. Polyhaven does HDRIs as well as textures, and I think they have 3D models, but I don't think their library is insanely large. But if you do go there, you can see all that stuff there. We also use a lot of action VFX assets, so go ahead and use this link here. This is actually a referral link, so I might get a little bit of a kickback if you guys do that. And then I mostly composite on Foundry, and then I use Blender as like CG. And here's our Discord, so if you've got any questions, feel free to hit me up or anybody else in the Discord. We got a lot of helpful people there, And we love to see some of your work that you post inside of the showcase section. So it'd be awesome to see you guys there and see a lot of the stuff you're working on. Meanwhile, that's also where I post the finished render whenever this is done. Whenever I like kind of relinquish the fact that this looks like crap and I'm ready to post it, that's when it'll be up there. It oftentimes that's finding out what the it's going to look like here inside of Blender, but then also doing a lot of compositing work inside of Nuke. So I do like the area that this sun is at. I just don't like the way everything else looks. I like the reflection that it's giving on the water, but again, it can be better. So why settle for less? All right, let's instead of using this world that we have here, we're going to create a new world environment, and we're going to call this HDRI. And instead of this color, we're just going to remove it, and it's just going to be a color option. Our sun is already kind of like creating that reflection because we're keeping the sun in there. It's pretty much everything that I liked about it, but not using all the stuff I didn't like about it. But what we can do is we can actually select this color and add in an environmental texture. Let's select that. And since this is already downloaded, I can go ahead and hit the open button, and we can find under our VFX materials this nice, beautiful HDRI that is free to use. So we'll go ahead and drop that in. It's probably not going to be the correct orientation or anything like that, but we can make all the adjustments that we need. Firstly, let's close this over here, and then under our shader editor, if we select our world option, you'll see HDRI, and that's where we can make our adjustments. I would probably select this guy and then add in a texture coordinate as well as a mapping node, and this will allow us to change the scale of everything as well as the rotation. The rotation on the z-axis is mostly what we're going to want to adjust because we want the sky to kind of line up with back here. Easiest way to do that is to swap over to a different render engine such as Eevee, a real-time render engine. And once that resets, if it doesn't crash our computer, we will be able to move the sky around really quickly and be able to find the orientation which we want. Trying to do it in like a ray tracer like Cycles is just too difficult. Right now what's going on is that I'm opening it up inside of a material view for the first time, and it has to load everything. So I don't know why I can't see the sky. I should be able to see the sky. There it is. It just took a while to load the 16K resolution thing. But now I got it. I can actually just keep rotating this until I find the orientation of the clouds that I want. The other thing is the color space is selecting as linear Rec 709. I don't know that it is. Let's try changing it to 1886 and see what that does. That's better. It's a lot better. And then let's find our orientation of, here it is. Kind of want this like cloud thing going on here. I might want to change the rotation overall, just that way it's a little bit higher and it's kind of like hitting our section that we would like. I think that works. Let's go ahead and save that. We've swapped back over to Cycles. So we're using an HDRI, but we're also going to be using our Starlight Sun that we have here. This came from the physical thing, but you could have done this with just like a regular sun as well. And this will give us the ability to like really control how we want everything to look, as well as the intensity of the light that we're doing and everything. So if I increase the intensity of this sun, it will increase the overall intensity of our sun. The only problem is that it is connected to our physical thing, so we may need to go here first and actually adjust the intensity and things like that directly inside of here. But we already got it pretty close, so I'm not too concerned about that. I will say I'm not happy with how light this water is. Let's change this from world back to object. And I think we can fix a lot of this by literally, duplicating our water that we have. Sorry. And removing the water realistic and going into edit mode and then just extruding that downwards. We select this top face and delete only the face. It will create more of a depth to our water. So we can even make this deeper. And basically we're putting a cap on top of that with the water, and then essentially now it's going to be reflecting everything on the inside of that. Now, to make it even a little more realistic, we could select any of these base soils that we're already using, or we could even use some kind of like dirt that we can import into the scene. So let's actually use this procedural mud with water, and we'll go ahead and select that. And that's going to apply it onto our object underneath the water. And then any other reflections through the water, if we were able to see it, is going to be that as well. Let's go ahead and close that. And then overall, that's not bad. I'm not disappointed. Let's go back over here to our main kind of layout window. And we just want to select our door. We just want the cursor to be on the door area. Let's go ahead and add in a empty. And we can just call this focus. That way it will draw our attention to like a specific area. So if we select our camera and then we enable depth of field and we select focus. The lower this f-stop number is, the more depth of field you're going to have. So we kind of want our front section here to be out of focus. And so we can actually make this, we just hike this number down until we find something. For us, we didn't set the scaling of our scene to anything specific. So it's not going to be accurate to real world numbers. But if we do something like that, I think that would look really cool. Let's see, let's actually a little bit higher. And then if you see the blades are currently set to 0, which I guess you can't really see, but if you see the blades are set to 0 here, this is actually the number of blades there will be on each of your bokeh. And something like 3 would be nice, and that creates this like nice realistic bokeh that you're going to have in your entire scene. So let's go ahead and do that. And overall, I mean, our scene doesn't have too much like light in it, you know, like it's pretty straightforward. But if we duplicate our like ocean water that we have here again, we're just going to remove the texture that it's on it. Just going to extrude that upwards, something like this. And even better, let's actually just make it smaller here. And then on the back side, we just grab that and then make it go up. Oh, Alt-H real quick. Let's go to wireframe here. And we just kind of want to select this back side here and then just make sure that we're not seeing any of the clipping on the top. And just keep doing it until you don't see that line that we saw here. So we kind of want that line to be gone. Something like that should be fine. And then now this guy, this big block that we have here, probably going to create like a new collection for it, and we'll just call it FX. I do want to find it, and then we'll just drag it into our FX tab, because this will be something that we want to turn off later. We'll just call this fog. We'll add in a new material, and this new material now we can swap out the principal BSDF with something that's like a scatter node, a volume scatter node, and we can plug this directly into the volume, and we'll change our intensity to something like 0.1, and then we'll just increase that to like a 0.6. Let's see how this looks here. Density may be a little too high. We want something very light. Nothing. Yeah, this is way too much. You can see, like, you can barely see anything. So let's do like 0.01. And even this is too much. But we want enough to where it feels like the environment is kind of like alive, and then that there is added some density to the environment in the world. So even this is a little too much. Just adds depth to it as well. And this is pretty nice. This is pretty nice. I like that. It just gives like this nice, warm, happy feeling to your world, your environment. And this HDRI is so much better than us trying to do this with the physical thing. So a bit of both there for sure. One thing I do like to do, since you know, we see this big block here, we don't need to see the big block. So let's go to our viewport display settings here. We can actually change the display as option here to a wireframe. So that way when we go back to this, it just displays it as a wireframe, because we don't need to see the big block. It's just there for our effects, and we don't want to hide it either, because we want to be able to see everything that we're working on. So let's go ahead and continue working on some other stuff here. The density still may be a little high, but we can always turn that down. And for right now, even we can even just turn off the display option. So if we go up here to our options here, we can actually just turn off the display option on our fog, because we don't need to see that as we're adding materials to like everything else. I do think though that let's add in this hobbit hole like materials. We'll add in a nice green woody door or something like that. I think that would be nice. As we're adding in some details here, we got our like main doorway. It's funny that everything is like attached to it. But let's go ahead and add in some new materials. So we'll call this green door. And even with this, we'll add in the green door, but let's just do it through this. Wood, painted wood is really what we're looking for here. Oh my god, this is literally perfect. Literally perfect, guys. Scale's way off, but it's close to what we need the initial thing to be. So let's go ahead and go into our settings here. I like to add in a value node and just plug that into your mapping section here. The larger the number is, the smaller everything will be. So if we set that to like a 1, it's not bad. I don't like how repetitive this looks though. Let's find something else. It was close, guys. Just wasn't quite what we needed it to be. Not quite. Something that feels a little more like this, but then green. So let's select this guy. Whoa now. That is not quite the size that we want it to be. Do like a 0.1 and plug that into our scale here. 0.3. 0.3 is perfect. And then our rotation here, let's rotate it. Is it y-axis? X-axis? Nope. It is Z. Okay. So that way it's just facing directly upwards. That's pretty nice. I like that. Now we have this wood texture here. This is okay. So we're gonna need all the white areas to be green. So there's a few things that we could do. It's just a picture, and we can adjust all of that stuff directly inside of our nodes here. So let's do that. Let's first grab like an RGB value of the thing that we want. Let's just say we want it to be green. We can then take this and then multiply it. We can do a couple different things. We can actually take this and then use like a mix node, like a mix color node. And then we can take the color of this guy here and then the color of this guy here. And then we can do several different like color burn techniques or something like that that will basically take the white and then make sure that it is whatever the color we want it to be is. So like maybe we find like a nice green here. Oops. Something like that. And then we can plug this into our principled BSDF. So instead of our white texture being plugged in, we can plug in our color burn material. And then that will give us a green door. And then we can even clamp the results if we wanted to try to adjust it that way. Another thing to watch out for though here is that we don't make this too saturated. So let's go ahead and select this and then we can even desat it. And then also under our factor here, we just turn that, keep that at 0.5. But let's try a couple different options here. So we'll do linear light, no, soft light. Wish I had these memorized. This is like the one thing that I really need to figure out is we'll use different ones. Try a multiply. Multiply should work. Yeah. So instead of that, we're getting this. So let's go view this real quick. That's actually really nice. I do like that. This will give us some good customization though over our door. So let's add in a little bit more saturation to it. Just a little bit. And then our value, we can increase the value of it as well. Oh, that looks really nice. I like that. Might want to adjust the scaling ever so slightly if we're trying to match this a little more. So let's do something like a 0.4. That looks pretty good. Like that. Awesome. So we'll go ahead and save that, and then let's go ahead and add in a doorknob here as well. Let's see what kind of doorknobs they have in the Shire. Just add in a new material. We'll call this something else. Doesn't matter, because we're going to probably find a material that just works for it. So let's just select wood. And then if we go into edit mode on this, let's make sure that we can see everything we're trying to do here. We'll just go ahead and select the doorknob, then hit assign. So now we got ourselves a doorknob on the center of the doorway. I do wish there was a little bit more of a shadow being cast. Yeah, it looks nice. It's funny because it's not realistic, but I think it looks quite nice to have that. Let's try that. Let's go ahead and when it's save, let's add in some kind of area light that we can hit from this direction, something like this. And let's go for a nice orangey kind of color, and then we'll increase the intensity on that. Here's our doorknob. Let's grab this guy and we'll bring him out. Just kind of grab this face on the inside here. Just put that all the way in there. Scale that down. Then overall, we kind of only want a shadow from it if we can. Definitely not as saturated, so let's just bring that down. Definitely bringing down the intensity on it as well. Let's see. It's good there. It's kind of adding in more of a shadow to it. You know what also we need to do is add in, let's see, let's add in a cube. Scale this guy up, something like here. And let's see, let's grab this face here and only delete the face. And if we just scale everything up, don't want to see it. So let's make sure that we're not seeing anything. That's perfectly fine. And then now if we go ahead and add in a new material, we kind of just want this to be a little bit darker. This will make it so that it doesn't feel so endlessly bright on this side of the image. So if we lighten this up, it'll have more bounce onto our surrounding environment. And even if we delete it, you could kind of see like that it just makes it a little more blue or something like that. So we might even want to have some kind of like a bluish tint to this. Okay, great. And then again, we'll just set the visibility of this to something like wireframe. I like that. I think that works nicely. On the inside, we have these windows. So let's go ahead and select this and we'll just call this window. Just change these to like a glass BSDF. And then on the inside of this entire place, we can add in some lights. So I'm going to add in a nice point light on the inside here. It is kind of important that, and we'll just change this to like 5,000. It is important that we have something that is reflecting the light, so that way it has something that it's hitting on the inside. Probably not going to be quite as bright, but something nice. Some incandescent lights on the inside. And if we add in a cube or a plane or whatever on the inside of this place, something for the light to bounce off of. And let's see, let's select this face here and delete only the face. Yeah, it should work. And then this will just be like our pseudo inside of the house. So I'm just gonna probably find a wood type material that we throw on the inside there. Let's go ahead and select this guy. It'll be perfectly fine. No, let's close that. Our light that we have on the inside now, though, we can go ahead and select that and then increase the intensity of it. And now, through the windows, we'll have like this kind of like nice, realistic kind of glow that you would get from like real lights on the inside of a house. I'm probably gonna see, let's mess around with these lights a little bit more, something like that. Actually, it looks really nice. These point lights right here, like honestly, if we created like a new collection, let's call this collection lights. We could throw in our point lights into that as well as our sun. And so that way any adjustments we make, we can find that really easily. Technically these would go under lights as well, but I'm just gonna put that under building. Yeah, that looks really good. Let's go ahead and save that, and then let's add some materials to this front section as well. And then we can kind of throw everything together with the grass and stuff that we added earlier, we can turn all that stuff back on. Find the brick. Something that gives more of like a hand-built feel to it. Not broken. We don't want broken stuff. We definitely don't like green, guys. Something that looks like corrosive. Like they had like a nuclear explosion go off near it. Oh, that's cool. Let's do that guy. Let's change the scaling of it though, because I just feel like it's just so small. And it makes the chimney look massive. And it's not massive. I'm going to change the value to something like 0.5. And we'll just plug that into our scale here. That'll be like half the size. That looks good. I like that. And then let's select everything and then just bevel the edges slightly. Bevel the edges like that. Cool. And that's just way off there, so we're not even really looking at that. We're going to add some smoke to it, I think, inside the comp, and we'll use something like from the Action VFX library for that stuff. Let's grab some nice polished wood or something like that for this section here. I'm thinking we select this. Ooh, that's nice. Scratched wood. Oh, actually this works perfect for these like front beams. And actually would work kind of perfect for this top piece as well. So I need to know what the name is of this. Wood 002. Wood 002. And then this doorway will be a little more complicated because that's all just one piece, but I want to have different sliced feelings to it. Does that make any sense? I don't think so. Let's grab this piece of wood here for this guy. I like that. And the slats they should be the same size color. Yeah, sure, they're fine. And then we'll call this accent wood because I'm gonna use the same accented wood again for this piece here. But I want a lighter piece of wood for everything else. So if I select this guy for the overall wood, might even lighten it up a little bit more myself manually. And let's go ahead and do that because I do want that. Let's add in a curve. RGB curves. And we can just brighten everything up. I think the scaling is also way off. Yeah, scaling's way off. So just add in a value node and we'll call this like 0.5. Not 0.85, we want 0.5. That's what we want. Perfect. I love that. And then this like outline around here, I want to have the same shading of wood as this guy. So let's go ahead and with that selected, let's go into edit mode here. And so unfortunate. This is going to be such a pain. Okay. I'm going to select the interior most. And if we do Control plus, it will slowly go all the way out. And we'll just grab this whole lip if we can. Control minus goes back one. Perfect. And that's just going to be the inside lip that we want. So we can even just add in a new material now, and then we'll find the accent wood, and then we hit assign, and then that's going to add it to the outside portion of that doorway. Now we don't care really if we add any scratches on the windows or anything like that. In fact, actually, we really don't want to on this, but we could add some kind of like scratch material to it just to make it a little more realistic. For our purposes, I don't think that's necessary, and I actually kind of like it that it's more perfect. I don't like the color of this light on this side though, so let's open up our lights option here, and we have 2 lights. I'm gonna take this other one right here and then just make it a little more darker, and then we'll just increase the brightness a little bit to offset the difference between the 2 of those. And now I think that looks really nice. It fits really nicely into that world, into that environment. That's good. Okay, let's see it with the grass and everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and select these guys here, and then we can enable our grass again. Go ahead and go down to our botanic option and enable everything one by one. The amount of weeds is kind of bothering me. I don't know, I don't think it really fits. Like these kind of like prawny ones there. I'm wondering if I can actually turn those off individually. And that would be Riverbank B. Yeah, here we go. I think it's this thing, but we can test it out. It's these. It's basically these are how you would adjust the individual thing. I would set that to 0 instead of 5. Nope, it's not that. Let's just test each one of these out. Okay, it is that. That's weird. Okay, so it's the Carl Foster B. I think that looks much nicer. It's less distracting than having like all those different like white. This is fine here in the foreground, but like on this hill here, I want it to feel a little more uniform, a little more clean, as if they take care of like it's their front yard, right? Like it's their front yard to their house. So just felt a little off to me. And let's fix some of these walkway stones that we've got here. I want to make sure that we're not losing those completely. So let's go ahead and grab... I'll just grab this one first. I don't want it to feel like it's floating, but I also want to be able to see it. Also got to make sure that it's not too dark, because like it's possible it's just too dark. I mean, hell, let's just get rid of it. Like, I don't want to have anything float later, and we're not going to see that unless it's like a full res render, and then it's like, ah, shoot, you know, and then you got to go back and re-render it. We'll just get rid of it for right now. If I had more time, I'd probably customize this front section and make it much lower, like a lot smaller in that area. But I don't want to waste too much time on that. I think that looks really nice, really cute. Let's add in some extra little details that we'd like to have. I love this, like, kind of like, it looks really nice. Overall, I don't like how this water texture kind of blurs everything. I want it to be a little more reflective if possible. So let's go take a look at that real quick. See if I can understand what they're trying to do here. So I think it's this roughness right here, and it's like 0.123. If I turn that down, we obviously get way more, way less, or way more reflective in our render. And that already looks a lot better. I don't know that I want it to be perfectly reflective, so let's do 0.0123 instead of 0.123. 0.05 is half basically of the amount of blur that there was before. I do think that it's nice to have a bit of blur, but it does make sense to kind of remove it. Let's see, let's make some adjustments with this, just kind of darken up things a little bit more. Do want it to feel a little more green maybe, so let's take this blue here and then just make it a little more green. And then change the roughness slightly to be like a 0.03. And then the is shadow thing is interesting. So that could work, but also, like, I mean, you could use it's not is shadow, it's what's it called, ambient occlusion. So if we go view our ambient occlusion, you can even see what it's doing inside of this environment here. It's kind of like a lot darker in the sections that near the island. And we can even use a color ramp to exacerbate that. So we'll just drop that in and we just increase the amount of darkness that we want around this area. And then we can even increase the distance that we want from that area, so that way it's like an even larger distance. Probably do something like this. And yeah, that looks good. And then we'll just decrease this slightly, I think. And just kind of crunch it up, so that way we don't have as much of a blur between the two. And let's see, let's bring that back up. Okay, that works really nicely. And that right there, we can use as our thing instead of the is shadow ray. So just plug that in there. And now we can view this. And it'll give us different results. Which we will actually need to invert this. Just realize that. Invert the color, please. And honestly, that will darken up like this area right here and then kind of like brighten up the section that's further away. Because it's going to go to this transparent BSDF. I'm wondering if that's removing too much of the reflection. I do like the darkness of it, but I want it to still be quite bright or quite reflective. So if I view this principled BSDF here, roughness is set to 0. Dark green, murky-ish. And then this is the thing that's plugged into the second shader? Yeah, let's do that. Fantastic. I like the blue a little bit better, I think. Although green, that green murk like looks pretty cool. I like that. Trying to see though, it's like I love how much the camera angle is on this. So I might adjust my camera angle to get a little bit more reflection. Or we can adjust this front piece here. That way we're still getting kind of like a nice reflection that's happening here. Overall, that looks pretty nice. I might add some lily ponds in there. Let's try this. We're still in kind of like a little bit of an experimental section of this. No. I'm gonna stick with it. We're gonna stick with our guns. Might need to adjust. I want this to kind of, the whole mountain, like at least the side of this right here, to come in a little bit more. That way we do see the edge of it is pretty thick right now. So let's go ahead and just grab the sculpt tool here and drag everything over. You got to be careful of is that we're not going to be adjusting up against the house too much. Let's make sure we didn't screw anything. How's that look? Looks pretty good. What do you guys think? I'm going to run to the restroom real quick. I'll be right back. As this is kind of like cashing out, we can kind of see what this looks like. Real quick, if any of you guys haven't subscribed, subscribe. What are you doing? It's free. It's 2024. Subscribing's free, guys. Looks pretty sweet. Looks nice. Looks nice, everybody. It looks nice. Nice. I don't like how the chimney is getting lost. We're losing the chimney. Can't be losing the chimney now. That's so funny. I just noticed this. This is why we don't like AI, guys. Just adds random things into random things. I kind of want to add in some lily ponds to some different areas. Is that possible? If I add in an edge loop here, is that going to screw anything up? And then if we do this, and then select this face, and then we'll just go and add in a new vertex group. Just click assign. So now if we hit select, it only selects that vertex group there. Let's go to our scatter node. Go ahead in object mode. Go to our scatter node, and if we select something like lily pads, I don't think it really matters. We don't want that many. I don't know, let's select a new one. I always select the same, so let's select a new one. Oh joy. And we'll select our group that we have, so it only puts them on that section. Well, let's do like 5 for the amount. Alright, because we're not really asking for that many, we just want a few right here. And we'll need to select our realistic water again. But where are our lily pads? Let's change the scale of them to be a little larger. Add more. I did add density. Subdivide the mesh for better weight paint results. I didn't use weight paint. Oh. It faded, guys. It faded. I think what we could do is just say Control R and then do that. And now, I think, if we go to our data group here, we could say select. And that's it. That's great. So now if we go over to here, we can say remove. Subtract. And so now it's only going to be on that section. That should work. And then we say object mode. So now we're only going to get our lily pads in that section. Fantastic. We only want lily pads in this section, guys. So now our number of this can only be like a lot smaller, because we don't need a lot. Want some random lily pads. Is the scale good? What if I even made just like 2? I just want like 2 lily pads. And then like the scale randomness can be up there, like change the overall scale to be a little larger. Can we make them clump a little more? I guess you don't really want the randomization of the rotation. Actually, I mean, you might want it on the Y. The object rotation. Phase, I don't think phase really is going to do anything for us. I think that works pretty nicely. It's pretty okay. We might also want to do, let's see, let's look at some other options. So they have lily pads. Just wish they had. Some other floating options would be great, guys. Yeah, other floating options would be fantastic. The fact that, yeah, it's just they just don't have very many options. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. We'll just kind of make do with what we've got. Go back over here. Water realistic. I think that works for us pretty well. The other thing is, let's go into our water realistic settings here, and then we're just going to plug transparent back into this option. And then we're going to just use is shadow ray for the FAC. That way we're not losing too much down here, I think. So I'm okay. I don't know, I'm torn. I think the blue is the thing that I just don't really like too much. Remove the saturation of it. I do like it being darker. It's just because it just feels more like a natural vignette to your world, which is quite nice. Looks pretty sweet. Let's turn on our effects real quick just to see where we're at with this. The effects might be a little heavy. And I'm not known for my heavy atmospherics, guys, okay? I'm not. Maybe I am. Maybe I shouldn't. This is weird. That's casting a volumetric shadow. I said not to affect volume scatter, and yet it is. And yet it is. Area light is kind of the only option for me. I do feel like the wood is on this door is a little lacking. It's a little lacking, not gonna lie. It's leaving me a little dry here. select the fog, and we'll make some adjustments to the overall density of this because this is too much for shores. It's funny because you get used to it when you don't have it, and then once you add it in there, you're like, whoa, Nelly, calm down. Thinking if we have it a little further up over here. That works. That works. Just imagining that the kind of like hillside is continuing on back there. Yeah, probably fix a lot of the color, the sky and stuff like that in compositing, so I'm not too worried about that right now. Just want to make sure this fog doesn't like lift things too much. I don't know, it just feels very bright. Bright? Yeah, I think that's going to be it, guys. I'm going to render this out. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. I can render this out at like 50% resolution. So that way it renders pretty quickly. And then I'm going to turn on, let's see, let's set this to 1024 for the samples. No, not too many, not too little. Let's see, we are not having motion blur turned on for this one. And let's, for our data files, let's go turn on some crypto mats. Always makes it a lot easier, especially if we're trying to make any adjustments inside of our new comp. That way we can make all of our adjustments pretty simply, or pretty easily with some mats and whatnot. Let's go ahead and let that render out. A little bit more of a chill, relaxed day today. A bit quiet, actually. But yeah, this was a fun one so far, guys. This actually was a recommendation from my mom. She wanted me to do a Hobiton photo. So that is from that. But if you guys have any recommendations of photos you would like to see, make sure to join the Discord. Link is in the description. I actually have the Discord link here inside of the description of the video, so make sure to join our community. You'll see the renders when they are first completed, so that you'll be the first to know. So just go ahead and click on this link right here. You'll join our Discord, and we always post the photos immediately once the render is finished. Once I'm finished with compositing, I upload it to Discord first. So that'll be where this is going to go here momentarily. So make sure to hit that button. And hopefully we'll be done soon. Just got to render this guy out. Looks like it's going to take about a few minutes, 2 minutes, to render. Whoops. Did not mean to close that window. Keep that open. But I am planning on doing a stream this Wednesday, so this will be interesting because like a little more complicated to come up with the types of live streams for these types of streams, the VFX compositing streams, because VFX as a whole is just very wide in the amount of tool sets that you have to use. Oh, I don't like that. How am I just seeing this now? What is this crap? We don't like that. We do not like that. What? I don't know if that is the shadows thing. Is that this? What is that? Well, we are going to fix our problem here, guys, because that did not look good. So this is the issue we were getting. What is that? Is this like weird? Okay. Is that the displacement? This is a good question. Let's increase the roughness here. Maybe that fixes our problem. Let's try rendering that out again. We just keep an eye on that. That's very interesting. I'm wondering if that is the dirt that we had underneath it. Is it too visible? If so, then we can remove the dirt and just make it black or something like that. And then that way we're not seeing any weird texture shading happening through it. Through the water. Let's just render this out and see where we're at with that. But, so I'm going to be doing a midweek live stream that is more like compositing and visual effects focused. I'm still figuring out what I want to do for this Wednesday. So if you guys have any suggestions for that you guys want to see, then that would be great, because then I'll know in the right direction that we want to go with that. But with that being said, I do want to point your attention to a few things. First of all, if you go to the description of this video, you can leave any comments or ideas inside of the Discord, but also I have an Action VFX link right here. And through this link, you can find some wonderful practice footage for different types of visual effects that you guys want to try to do. So my eventual idea is that potentially we'll have a couple like series of like maybe like a week or so that we're working on like a specific shot, and they could be like a set extension or like some kind of like CG set extension that we can do through here. But they have all this wonderful practice footage and it's free. You just go download it. So if you go through the link in the description there, you can find all that stuff there. And then of course, also on top of that, you can find different assets that they would have that would work great with the type of footage that you're trying to do. So they filmed all this awesome stuff, and then they tell you what color space that it's filmed in, what resolution it is, what format it is, and all of that stuff. You'll find that all in the link of the description below. So if you are looking for any type of practice footage to work with, that is a great resource, and it's free, so why not use it, you know? In the meantime, we're going to be freaking out by this wonderful issue that we have here inside of our full CG scene. See, if it was real, if it was a VFX shot, we wouldn't have this problem. I don't know why I can't scroll or anything on this. This is kind of concerning. Is my computer freaking out or something? It's just a Blender render. It's not that crazy. I can stop the render, I suppose. Yeah, I'm still getting this like weird thing down there, and I'm wondering if it has to do with the lily pads. If it does, it's such a sad day, guys. Such a sad day. So here's our lily pads, and if we just disable that, are we getting the same problem? I think so, which is actually kind of a good thing for us. Whoa. This right here, what is this? Oh, is that the water? Just see if that fixes our issue, or let's actually do this. I know this is not what I'm trying to do right now, but I do want to just take the same colors that we have there and then just like make them darker. That way we are still kind of doing what I wanted to do. It's just keeping the same when you're going into it. Okay, that actually looks pretty nice. Let's go ahead and just make that smaller. I'm not seeing that bug anymore. I think I got rid of it. Fantastic. So we'll go ahead and close that, and then let's go ahead and render that out again. Let's see what that looks like. Let's see what that looks like. I'm gonna open up my Discord as well right now, and let's go take a look. A look-sees. Why are all my friends online playing video games without me right now? Sad face. Sad face. It's okay. This is for the greater good. Okay. This is for the greater good. See, I'm not getting that. Oh man, I really hope that's not a bug. I guess we'll find out once the shot is finished rendering. I love these windows though. Like I think that looks great. I think it's gonna be awesome once we get it into the compositor. It's just we gotta get it to the compositor at this point. It's okay, we're 3 minutes away from that. 3 minutes away from this render being, or the temp render being done. The 50% render being done. Okay. I don't know what this star is that they added to the top of it. What are the hobbits, like Jews or something? Star of David just above their doorway. Quite interesting. Close that and I guess while I'm waiting, I can just talk about a couple of things. I do have a tutorial that is up talking about creating visual effects plates. So if you're interested in proper color management workflows using like a software like DaVinci Resolve, which is free, that's the reason why I did the tutorial inside of DaVinci Resolve. is it's great because even if somebody is editing a film in Premiere, you can use an XML to import your footage into DaVinci Resolve, and then you can then create all your visual effects plates. If you're in Nuke or After Effects or anything like that, you can use proper color management, and that way all of your visual effects that you're doing when you turn it over are very professional that way. Otherwise, if you're doing stuff, it's like you can do it in 709 or something like that. That's the only way to like really color manage something in After Effects. But if you use ACES as a proper like color pipeline, then that'll allow you to use whatever software you want, including something like Blender. And as long as everything is using an ACES pipeline from beginning to end, and even the visual effects assets you receive, if you're using the ACES version of those shots, then that'll allow you to kind of stay in the same world. And when you deliver stuff back to the client, they know what they're receiving and they know how to tag it. Very important for more professional workflows. If you're doing stuff for like YouTube, it's not. I often find that in YouTube they neglect that, and then they try to get away with doing everything as 1886. But you know, we do things proper around here. So there is a tutorial up talking about that. What is this? Like, what are these lines, bro? What are these lines that they're doing? I'll have to... I'm wondering if that's like a clipped edge or something like that. So we'll just output this real quick as just today's date, temp version 1. I'll go ahead and save that. I'm not going to render out the full res version right now. I mean, I could just do that, but I'm just changing this percentage slider right here, and then we could just render that. In the meantime, I'm going to open up NukeX, and we can edit that temp version. If we're getting a lot of lag from trying to render in the background, then I usually just turn that off. But yeah, let's go ahead and open up our temp render that we have here. And I'm just going to attach a shuffle to it, and then this will give us our initial photo that we have. Tag this as ACES CG is what I'm looking for. Much better. Okay. Let's do a few different things that we want here. Let's add in like a dot here. I'm going to do all of my kind of like compositing work here, but then at the very end of everything, we'll just add in a lens distortion, and that's just going to help wrap it around the camera. Normally, if this was matching like a realistic shot, oops. I froze Nuke, everybody. Nuke is frozen. My water's gone. Drink lots of water, everybody, and don't freeze your computer. Words to live by. Okay, so 0.05 is cool, but let's change this from undistort to redistort, and then that's going to actually wrap it towards the camera more realistically. And you can kind of see what that's doing here. It works really nicely because it emulates how real lenses are kind of work in the world. And that's really nice. I love that. I don't like how much red we have in here, so let's go ahead and add in a saturation node. We're going to target specifically the red, so we'll just uncheck green and blue here. I'm just going to kind of bring that down a little bit. And you can see how much it's removing there. Might even like not do quite nearly as much, but we want to target that area up there specifically. So another thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and let's change the let's do it around here actually. If we select this, we can add in a reformat node, and then we'll scale it by 2 is essentially what we want to do. And that's going to set it to 1920 by 1920 down there instead of 960 by 960. That was because we rendered it at half resolution. But if we add in our roto node to our saturation, the areas that are specifically giving us issues overall in our image isn't this area here. It's actually more from like here upwards. So we can actually select our roto node here and then just kind of box select this whole thing, garbage mask it, and then change this to a pre-multiply RGBA. I like to also drop in an edge blur and then just do something like 300 pixels should be great. And then now, when we desaturate our stuff, it's only going to desaturate that section. Keep in mind that because it's 300 pixels, we're going to need this to be a lot larger. So that way when it blurs it, we're really getting like this area is what we want to adjust as much as possible. So yeah, so that's going to remove some of the red there. Just going to work a lot better for us and just make it look more how we want it to. Kind of want our eyes to be drawn to this section here, so there's a few things that we can do to do that. Again, just using other like roto tools and stuff like that. I'm going to just add in another roto node, and then we're going to be using it as a mask for specifically this section here. So go ahead and just roto that, pre-multiply it by RGBA, and then we'll edge blur it. I'm going to change this to like a 100 pixel blur. Something like that should work fine. If we try to increase the whiteness level here, we're going to try to brighten up this area, not drawing too much attention to it. Kind of just fade that out a little bit more. That should be fine. I'm just going to lift that area up so that way it kind of like draws our attention over there. I know it's right now in shadow because it's behind the hill, but we kind of want to be able to see that a little bit better. So we'll go ahead and save this actually, this comp so far. And let's go ahead and select this grass area here and then darken that because we don't want our eyes to be drawn towards it. So if you select crypto mats, we can just go ahead and even do it right here. We want to select specifically this section down there. So this is crypto objects. We can change it to crypto materials, and that'll just give us different types of materials that we're looking for. I think actually we have to do it above the shuffle. What's going on actually? Crypto objects. It's actually kind of strange. It's bugging out on me right now. I'm not quite sure why it's bugging out on me. Select crypto material 0. Yeah, not quite sure why that's doing that. But that's fine. We will make do, 'cause, you know, this is production. We have to be done by our deadlines. So let's go ahead and add in another grade node here. And then I'm just going to do the same thing we already did. I'm just adding in another roto node. And we'll just kind of garbage mat select this whole area here. Pre-multiply that. What we're really trying to do on these images is we're trying to create shape for the viewer. So when they look at the image, their eyes aren't just going everywhere because everything is just so flat. We want our viewer to have their eyes drawn to like specific sections. So specifically with us, this makes sense for like this is very bright, just as bright, actually brighter even if you look at this than like our overall section here. And people's eyes are drawn by brightness, they're drawn by shapes, they're drawn by symbols. So what we can do is we can actually darken like this section here and bring it down. And that way it's not as distracting for everybody. And having trouble, so I'm just gonna not use the lens distortion for right now, but just bring that down a little bit more. And now you can see that like your eye should be drawn more to like this circle here, and our vision should be more to that. Go ahead and close that whole thing. With our lens distortion node, if we go look at that real quick, we're gonna add in a few things after this. Firstly, let's add another grade node in. And then let's go ahead and add in another shape. And then this shape, let's go ahead and draw ourselves a little bit of a vignette circle. Gonna kind of go out on that side, and then up, and then actually think it might make sense to do this. A little more of a complicated shape. And we can go ahead and just invert that. If we look at that, it'll just look like this. That's where we add in an edge blur and then kind of blur it by like 300 pixels, maybe even like 600 pixels. That's fine. And then if we use the mask from this grade node here, we can darken the surrounding areas. Again, just adding a little bit of a vignette to your whole image can help draw your eyes to like a specific area. I love vignettes. Who doesn't like vignettes? Probably something like this. Let's darken that whole section there, I think. And then the edge blur, let's see what it looks like at half. Again, we don't want it to look too obvious. It's mostly just kind of like bringing, and you can even see, it's kind of just bringing the overall values down on the outside rather than like darkening it too much like a artificial vignette. We want it to feel more natural, like it sits in the environment. And let's try that. That works, yeah. Then after everything, we could just add in a little bit of grain, I think. Just bring the scaling of that down a little bit. Everyone loves a little bit of grain. Overall on your image though, before we get into some of these different areas, what could be nice is I love to add in a little bit of glow. Not a lot. When you first add in your glow, it's going to look terrible. It just kind of like overall blows everything out. But what you can do with this glow is you can increase the tolerance. That way it's only coming from like the highlighted sections of your image. And what this does is it adds like this really nice, lovely halation to your image that you really want. And it brings everything to life. Like it's just kind of crazy. Like it just adds a little extra flair to everything. And we could just go ahead and add in a roto node. So like if there's any areas that are like super like don't look good with that, like this particular section up here, for instance, we can go ahead and then just draw a shape over this area. And then we can say RGBA. And then for the glow, we just say, hey, invert whatever roto that we put into it. So that way it doesn't do anything in those particular sections. Another thing you can do is we can add in a second glow that is only doing those sections. That way you have your bigger glows for your highly intensive glow periods that you want, or glow sections that you want. Then you can do a separate glow for something else. I'm going to probably just, I always like to add in an edge blur because it kind of just makes everything blend, even if you know, it all kind of depends on what you're trying to do. So for this, it's like we want to have glow in the specific section, but we don't want to have a hard edge where the glow isn't happening. So I'm just going to use this glow here, but instead of hitting the invert onto our glow node on this glow, we're going to keep it unchecked. So that way it's only adding glow to that section. And in this particular area, let's go ahead and increase the tolerance again. So it's only coming from the brightness of your image, the brightest parts of your image. And then on top of all of that, we're going to want to change the size of it to something a lot smaller, because there'll always be a little bit of glow from brighter areas to small areas. Adds a little bit of like realistic halation that's happening on your image. So if we go ahead and do that, just add a little extra nice flare to it. And then again, now if we go ahead and disable everything, you can kind of see what that's doing to your entire image as a whole. And it might be a little too much. You can always draw it back. Let's go ahead and look at it with all the other grading and everything that we did in our image. Might need to pull this side back a little bit. But you can kind of see what we're doing there. I think that works really nicely. The only thing we might not want necessarily is I do like the glowing happening here, but I don't want the color to change on that. So what we can do is we can add in another roto node in this particular section. So just go something like this, and then once we do that, you'll kind of see that it removes that glow on that area. Okay, great. Now it looks like our render is finished from Blender here. So let's go ahead and say image, save as, and then I'm going to just remove the word temp from it. Go ahead and hit the save button. And if we go back to our new comp now, let's go ahead and find this other render that we have. If I just replace it, should work perfectly. Now, what's weird to me, that is super strange. Let's go ahead and look at... Oh, right. I didn't tag this as ACG. That's why. I was like, they should not have changed the color. Why is it changing the color? Yeah, it should just add more detail to like all the branches and everything. I'm going to swap that back to RGBA, and then now if we go to the very end here, this is with the temp render that we currently have, and so let's go ahead and replace it. So now everything will be a lot higher quality. I think the grain is a bit much, so let's go ahead and adjust some of that. Also think the size can be adjusted. You can even use some presets here. So if there's like a preset of some noise that you like, then you can go ahead and select these. So this right here, I think, is the image for today. You're getting some weird artifacting that's happening in the water. Let me look into that. I'm wondering if it's the water material that we're using. Yeah, it might be. It's just not going to work for us, so we need to fix that. Don't think it's the displacement. Although who knows, maybe it is. It's not the displacement. Is it anything to do with the surface? I mean, it's hard to tell. Let's see. Let's create a new principled BSDF that we just plug into it, so that way it's like a weight surface that we are looking at. It is not. is something to do with something else. Interesting. I'm wondering... Wondering if it has anything to do with our lily pads. Because it could. Let's go ahead and let me zoom in on this real quick, and then we can kind of troubleshoot some things here. Botanic, yeah. It is not. Does not have anything to do with that. Very interesting. I mean, we could try this. Can you not delete the starlight thing? You cannot. Okay, it's not the HDRI. Ah, it's the fog, guys. It is the fog. We found it. We found it. Ladies and gentlemen, we found it. So I think it's because the bottom edge of this fog was the exact bottom edge of the actual ground that it is clipping. So I think that will fix it if we bring that down. And again, we will just go back to render view here and see if that does fix it. I think it was the bottom edge of our volume of the fog that was causing problems. Sure enough, that fixed the issue. Okay. Then let's go ahead and select our water again, and instead of using this principled BSDF, we will plug in our mix shader. And sure enough, that got rid of the issues that we had. So I guess that's a fun little troubleshooting thing, which I guess I really didn't show too much of because I was on this screen the whole time. But I basically went through everything in our outliner and was just disabling one thing at a time until we got rid of the issue. And then once I figured out what it was, I made the adjustment. It turned out it was this fog. That's why having helpful collections inside of your Blender is very useful, because then you can just go through one by one, disabling each one individually until you find the problem. I'm going to go ahead and save that. I'm going to stop there, I think, because I have to render this guy out, and I don't want you guys to have to sit around watching the render, because there's the clipped edge on the bottom of it. But this is essentially the picture here. This is the full CG render that we did today. This is I guess conclude today's render. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was a fun one to make. I had a great time, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if there's any recommendation on future live streams, go ahead and comment that below. Love to hear you guys' recommendations on what we should do next, and I will put that in the queue. I've got a few more planned from other subscribers, but it would be awesome to get some recommendations from you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and if you guys aren't subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button below. I do weekly live streams just like this every single week where we create CG images from scratch, and I am just now starting out a new midweek live stream That is a morning stream in like a Wednesday or a Tuesday or something like that, where we will do a visual effects compositing shot. So if there is anything you guys want to see in either of those streams, make sure to comment that below, hit the subscribe button, and join the Discord so that way you guys don't miss any future live streams or videos. I am Connor Thomas, and I will talk to you guys next time when we do another live stream. Peace out, guys. Bye.